We say things that don't mean anything, but thanks for listening. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Will You Say Things, episode 288, and it's a big old juicy patch. Suns fan here with Cinderin. Cinderin's mic quality is going to sound a bit meh for now because Discord is currently down, but when it comes back up during this eventual 5-hour episode, we will switch, so don't worry. I will also say thank you to our patrons because I forgot to paste it in the sheet, which is a whole process. I'm just reading off the website. Thank you to Isaac Hansen, Empire of Dirt, Malicious Damage, Wagyu Hater, Amish Toaster. If Cinder pronounces this right, it will be Shacking. Shocking. I see what you did there. It's too bad he wasn't reading it this time. Crownfall Enjoyer, Suns Nugget Boy, STGC Daniel, Pepperballs, T-Coil, Vlad, Let's Have Puppy on the Podcast, Disco Farm D, The Megapope, Dop, Wooden Aftertaste, Anonymous, and Our Brain Can Recognize a Familiar Voice in under half a second, often faster than a face, Mr. Niebling. I believe it. I am exceptionally good at figuring out... Actually, that's not true. I'm trying to think, actually, what I'm good at. I'm not good at very much. I think it's both for me. I'm good at recognizing voices. Like if it's an animated film, I can usually pinpoint who it is. And then faces for just random actors I can get. But if I just met somebody, it's almost like I have... What's that condition called where you just don't remember their face? I'll meet them again. Like, nice to meet you, just like I did with Yule, the OG Valve employee. That was embarrassing.
I forgot what it's called.
It's not aphantasia. That's the
can't
picture in your head kind of thing. Face blindness, maybe?
Prosopagnosia. That's right.
Okay, I've never heard the actual term. Okay, good stuff. Let's get started with this episode because it's going to be a long one. And what are the conditions today, Cinder? We're not going to read everything, obviously.
We are going to go over the major changes to the game itself. So global changes, map objectives, terrain, etc. Changes in mechanics, new items, and a little bit about heroes that were clearly reworked. So we'll not go into detail about this hero got this and that number or whatever, but where an ability was changed or they gained something or they lost something. And maybe like parenthetically mention, okay, this hero got a lot better or a lot worse from what we think. But yeah, this is not meant to be an in-depth analysis of everything because the amount of lines here, this will take over 5 hours. If you're looking for that, there's probably going to be, I'm assuming Purge will do one. And of course, you can just read yourself in the game if you want to see every little thing.
You were saying?
Well, what did I say? Do you want me to repeat the whole thing? Because I will.
No. We're just going to be skipping things that are non-essential. I think if basically you're saying the heroes we won't be as in-depth with, but I think if there is a crazy talent or a new skill, then we will. Yes?
Exactly. Big changes and overall macro stuff is what we're looking at. Okay, let's get started. We'll start with the global changes. This is always a big topic because this affects literally every single game and no matter what hero you play, etc. So the very first line of the patch, Facets Removed from the game. This is the first time I feel like in a long time that Valve have removed a mechanic completely rather than rework it. I am not sure exactly what the rationale is for this. My overall thought is that they probably felt like in order to make facets interesting, they needed to be quite powerful, but by extension, it was difficult to balance the game. So all the heroes with their facets had multiple facets that were interesting and made sense at the same time, and to avoid that heroes just become stronger version of other heroes. I think that's part of what happened with facets actually, was that some heroes just did a better job than others at the same task. So
I also think that they fell into a bit of a... First of all, I'm not against the idea of removing the facets. This feels like more of a post-episode thing, but I thought that they would replace it with something just as big, which they didn't, so that was quite disappointing. I'm not against the idea of removing it, but at the same time, I feel like they fall into this trap of maybe following pro Dota too much. I feel like in pub games, people are going different facets all the time. Like not every hero had a facet that
Mhm.
was the only one you went for. So I think this is a real shame for the pub games. Of course, we'll talk about some of the things that are implemented as we get lower, but yeah, this is a fucking gigantic deletion from the game, and I'm shocked. We did talk about the possibility when that last patch, the 7.40, came out, and a bunch of heroes were removed. Like, what if this is, or do they just do it for every hero? I was not expecting it, though, I have to
Yeah,
say.
we were like, surely the next patch puts the rest of the facets in the game. And they're just like, we can't come up with anything. Fuck it. Just nuke the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, facets are out. Innates still exist though, and innate abilities now they no longer scale with the ability of or the level of other abilities. There were a lot of innates that would scale with the level of your ulti, for example. Rather, they've all been redesigned now, so they either have flat bonuses or they improve per level of your hero. And this is just across the board. It's just streamlining. So if you read the change logs further down, there's going to be a lot of lines in this patch that are just this hero's innate change from this to that plus percent per level. And that's basically it. Yeah, that's pretty much that section of what's important there. We get an additional siege creep at minute 60. That means the waves are going to have 3 siege creeps at 60 minutes. And they start having 2 siege creeps at 30 minutes instead of 35. So trying to accelerate games and make it easier to push. It's going to be interesting to see how much that affects the game. In addition, the meeting point of the lane creeps is shifted toward the off lane, and the way they do that is by making safe lane creeps move a little bit faster and off lane creeps move a little bit slower at some specific points up until 7:30, at which point they normalize. So this is like a band-aid solution to try to help the off lane, which was suffering so hard in the last patch, to give them a better chance. So that's just
Yep, you said it. It's a band-aid. It's just like the you can't destroy the first wave or they don't aggro. It's like such
yeah.
I find it to be what is a nice way of saying this? I mean, I guess band-aid is. It's not a real solution. It's just completely arbitrary and it's just weird.
I mean, I wish there was a smart way of doing this that doesn't feel like that, but the only idea that I can come up with on the spot is just that creeps in the off lane move slower and creeps in the safe lane move faster, and then it just works that way the entire game. Because then it doesn't feel like a band-aid that just works until some
Yep.
arbitrary time at like 7:30, right? But
Agreed.
then also you just make a weird dynamic on the map where one wave just is inherently always going to be favored when you start pushing, right? So when you get to the mid game portion, it means the map is very. It's going to be this weird dynamic where it's better to push one side than the other. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. But you could say just deal with that, right? But maybe that would also be weird.
I mean, there's a
Okay.
million ways to buff the offlane that doesn't include this.
Yeah,
So
you could do something else, of course. You can move the tower, or there's many ways. This is it for now, though. Maybe they couldn't come up with a more elegant solution. I'm sure there will be some change to this somewhere in the future. Okay, aside from that, the currents, this is the water. When you run in the water and you gain move speed, the maximum movement speed bonus is now 150 instead of 100. In the past, only the 150 was gained close to your base, and the other sections gave 100. Now all of them give 150. So a bit faster movement around the river area.
okay.
They're trying to make that more of a thing. Honestly, in a way, I'm a little bit more surprised that this gets to stay and facets don't, that they consider this worth keeping
Yeah.
comparatively. I feel like the currents thing is a gimmick, and the other one was like a more elaborate, detailed system. But yeah, we'll get to that. Okay,
Agreed.
Tormentor has now switched, so it starts in the bottom instead of the top. They've also changed the area the Tormentor is in. I don't think there's any way to see that in the change log, but basically imagine the Tormentor, instead of being top left or bottom right, it's shifted slightly off to one side, and now it's under 3 stairways of low ground. So when you're taking the Tormentor, you're extremely exposed. So it's very unfavorable if a fight breaks out to be in the Tormentor area, similar to how it's unfavorable to be inside the Roshan pit because you're surrounded. It's kind of the same logic. In addition, the Tormentor is a lot tankier, but it deals less damage per second. However, killing it fully, I think you take similar total damage, if not more. So it's a lot harder. And whoever gets the shard does not get 175 gold. And if you kill the Tormentor with everybody in your team having a shard, you get less gold. So they made it harder to take in terms of killing it, harder to take in terms of how much easier it is to contest a team that is doing it, and less rewarding. This is a mega, mega nerf to that mechanic. Um, I'm in favor of this. I don't know if I would have done it in a similar fashion. We were debating some sort of randomness with where it spawns, or just overall
I mean,
lore
I
impact.
personally think, well, first of all, this is again to me showing that they're only looking at pro games for some reason. Low level
Mm.
pub games, which again is 90% of people don't even go for the Tormentor already, and they're definitely not going to go for it now. Still, the best system I thought was when there was two, and each
Hmm.
team kind of had their own, because then you're kind of protecting your own. But from a pro game perspective, this makes sense. But I'm sad that that is all that they're caring about, seemingly.
I think I think the main argument against the version where each team has their own is that the goal of this objective is to incentivize interaction between heroes, not your team goes one side and the enemy team
No,
goes to the other
I
side.
get it. I'm just saying
So,
from a pub mentality,
mhm.
which apparently doesn't matter, that the original one was the best of the three so far.
And the concern with this one, now that we got to see it today, we cast 2 games of this new patch. It's the only interaction we've had with the patch so far. Um, the team doing it had to put in a lot of effort to get the kill. So if lower level pubs already aren't doing Tormentor, they're definitely not doing it now. And in higher skill games, the risk reward of this and how much effort goes in, it will definitely be taken less. The reason I think it's good to do it that way is that if there was this strong polarization where low games didn't do it and in top games you did it at 20 or 21 minutes every game, that's what I think is bad, is if it's a quote unquote forced objective that it's so important you have to do it. I think it's good if it's a choice rather than you must do it. That's always what's been great about Roshan, is that Roshan isn't like, oh, you have to kill Roshan at 15, you know? It's just he's there, he's hard, do it if you want, you know? I like if the Tormentor is like that, but I'm a little bit worried now that it has shifted so much in the direction of it's going to be so hard to do and so easy to contest that teams are going to avoid the risk, and then it's actually counterproductive
Yeah.
to what you wanted,
And
right?
from a pro player perspective though, watching games, it being low ground is awesome. It's gonna be a lot of crazy team fights, a lot of people getting absolutely effed over. So I'm excited about that, but it's just, how do you I know it's really hard to balance these things, but I feel like they've just not given a shit about the pub for
Right.
these two big changes so far. But don't worry, there's a lot of stuff in the patch I do like, so it's not all negative.
All right, moving on. Roche Pit swaps sides because the Tormentor does. So now Roche starts top instead of bottom. Generally doesn't affect the game very much until the Tormentor comes into play, where if you're trying to trade, it will be in the other side. Wisdom Shrines and Lotus Pools reverse countdowns if heroes from opposing teams enter the area instead of pausing. So that means if you're one person from each side in the ring, it shrinks.
It
It's
means
funny because we were
Shadow
talking
Demon
about
can't
this.
F you over now, right?
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, how in domination type mechanics in video games, generally speaking, if you're fighting over it, it stands, um, how to say, the whole thing that the progression one team has made is kept when the other team goes in. And then if the first team leaves, the team that contests it just takes over the progress of the first team. That is now what you're going to lose. If you go and contest it when someone is in there, the timer ticks down rather than being frozen.
Which I
Um,
found that refreshing, the way that it was quite unique. It
Especially,
felt like a
yeah.
sumo wrestler. I don't know what they call their stages, where you're just trying to push somebody out. I think that was cool. Um, but they're less important now, so whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure why they would change that aspect, if I'm being honest.
Additionally, wisdom shrines now go from 280 per interval to 200 flat and then plus 300. So beforehand, the first wisdom shrine was 280, the second one was 560, etc. Now it's 200, 500, 800. The main change here is that the first wisdom shrine is a lot less impactful. It's almost 33% worse, but the subsequent ones are pretty similar to before. I think this is personally for me, this is a really good change because I didn't like how insane of an impact it had when one team got both. Um, I think this, again, the goal here is to make it more forgiving and less of a you must do this thing or you're fucked kind of thing.
Right.
This still feels valuable and worth doing, but it's not you lose if you don't get two wisdoms. I don't know what the win rate in Pro Dota was when one team got both wisdoms, but I feel like it was over 65%. That's anecdotally and just a guess, but how many games did we cast where okay, one team got both wisdoms, one team supports our level 6, the other teams are level 4, and you're just like, you know,
So
they can't do
something that I
anything.
brought up on the cast that I still feel very strongly is something that they're doing with a lot of these quote unquote new features from the past however many years is they're taking people's feedback, which
Mhm.
they should be ignoring, because they've normalized things so much. I'm not. Maybe this isn't going to end up the case for the Wisdom Shrine, but look at neutral
Mhm.
items. How personally I find them so uninteresting now. You're getting basically whatever you want. Tier 5s are not nearly as good as they used to be. It's just slightly
Mhm.
better than tier 4s. Like they're not interesting to talk about. They're not interesting to use. They're just there. They're just stats that you get. Like, oh, okay, whatever. That is what I'm seeing across the board in certain areas. Like Wisdom Shrine now, that's cool if you want to take your team, especially now that it's harder to steal because of the way the countdown works.
Mhm.
I don't see any reason to change this personally, but
No.
you just want to nerf things, and then now everything is just equally uninteresting. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, and I think for the
They're
neutral item
terrible. Oh.
example,
Sorry, I'm
something
being
they could.
delivered some food, Synderen. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Tell me when you're ready.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say about your neutral item example, perhaps if, let's say you bring the more powerful neutral items back, the problem I had with the first system when it was at its worst was that the items were extremely impactful and the randomness was very big. So the variance was insane.
Yeah.
I think you could bring back stronger neutral items on the terms that you get more agency. So if you want the really strong old ones, I think you should get to pick. And then that takes away, I don't know if you want to call it part of the charm of the randomness, but I think if they're random and insanely powerful, it's too game deciding whether you get lucky. I think that was the problem I always had and what they steered away from. If you make them less strong, then if luck is a factor, it's less of a factor. But then they're also less interesting.
Yeah,
And
I
now
agree.
you added the whole
The thing that
enchanting
makes
system.
them fun is how powerful they are. But if it's less random, then it's fair, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would not be, I get what you're saying. I personally don't agree, but I think if you want the strong neutral items, it should be on those terms that you get more agency. And if that's better for a lot of people and for the game, then that's fine. But I think the first version they had was just bad. Super powerful items, super random. Some items were broken on some heroes
I'm
and
not
trash on
saying,
others.
yeah, just to be clear, I'm not saying the first version was good.
Right. Okay.
A round of nerfs is fine, but you stop at a certain point. You don't keep nerfing it to the ground until it's just
Mhm.
not an interesting feature anymore. I
Right.
don't understand. Like the entire thing that makes when it's the right way to put this. When you're making a game, you recognize two or three things that make your game special, right? The thing that makes Dota special is things are broken as fuck. Except everyone's things are broken as fuck. It doesn't have to be just spells, it's items. It
Hmm.
can be the neutral items as well, whatever. It can apply to everything. That is what makes the game remotely interesting. It's always going to be deep. Doesn't matter how many things you butcher to make things easier to play, it's still going to be extremely deep. So that's why
Hmm.
I inherently disagree with this type of strategy in terms of
Right.
nerfing. But it's just
I,
a
I,
wisdom shrine, whatever.
I would imagine that over time, if this trend becomes too big of a problem, they'll push it back the other way. I'm of the opinion that we push too much in the direction of we need to have everything everywhere and everything needs to be faster and stronger and better. So I personally think it's a nice change of pace to see something removed and something slowed down. But I think there's a balance here where I agree that you want to also not streamline things. That has been my concern, that if the game goes in that direction, that's very bad, where heroes feel the same, but one is just a bit better than the other, or items feel the same, but one is just better economically, or farming patterns are similar, but there's a camp that's better. You know what I mean? Like you want it to feel like there's choices that matter and that nothing is solved all the time. Um, and the complexity of the game largely comes from the fact that there is so much crazy shit that it's hard to figure out what's best, and it's hard to play the game properly
Mm-hmm.
because you're constantly juggling all these intangible things. All right, let's move on. So terrain changes. I'm going to largely skip over this. The main thing that I think is worth pointing out is the ancient neutral camps near the stream have been demoted to medium camps and moved slightly toward the bases. And the medium neutral camp near the offlaner's defender's gate has been demoted to a small neutral camp. This is effectively just Valve taking gold out of the map. You're taking two of the neutral camps and demoting them to smaller ones. There's a lot of lines here about things being shifted slightly in one direction, moved slightly in another, etc., etc. If you're curious about all these little details, boot up the map and check it. But the biggest parts is smaller camps worth less gold, and Tormentor is really shit to take. That's the most important ones. The gates have moved a little too, but that's kind of the same for both teams. All right, mechanics. I think Valve changed this. So the first line is health restoration now applies to all forms of life gain. I think they changed this because there was so much confusion about how this even worked.
Yeah.
And this just simplifies it. Beforehand, there was health restoration and there was healing. Those were two separate concepts. So, for example, Drow's hypothermia eggs, which reduced health restoration, reduced the regen you would get from lifesteal and those sources, but not from direct healing. So it was very good against heroes that healed over time, but it was not good against, say, Omni Knight's Purification, for example. It did nothing against. Now they're just trying to normalize things a bit more. So now health restoration also includes healing. And I believe conversely, it works the opposite way, right? So if you have health restoration reduction, it also works against heals. I would think. I'm trying to find the line here. Yeah, spells that previously had a separate value for incoming heal reduction now only modify health restoration. But that should overlap then, right?
Yep, that's a good change. It was very confusing.
It's simpler and easier to understand. Unless we misunderstood it again now, which would be kind of funny. I'm sure it'll be pointed out then. Then physical and lifesteal damage manipulation. Physical and magical lifesteal take into account overall damage reduction amped when computing how much to lifesteal. Historically, lifesteal was calculated before some damage reductions or amplifications were applied. As a result, you could gain health from attacks that dealt no damage, for example, like attacking a hero affected by Aeon Disc. This will not happen anymore. The only amplification that is not taken into account is increased damage against illusions. So again, just making it more straightforward and simpler to understand. Considering what we were just talking about with things being really complicated and things being very broken or whatever, I personally like things like this to be simplified because I think the barrier of entry and the actual impact this has on the game, I don't think it's a net positive to have these mechanics be extremely convoluted. I think the difficulty should come from decision making and understanding what to do when, rather than understanding how things work.
Yep.
I think this is good. I like it a lot.
Agreed.
Finally, miscellaneous. All sources of damage reflection now have an alt note detailing mechanics of reflected damage. Reflected damage cannot be reflected back. Lifesteal and spell lifesteal don't apply to reflected damage, and reflected damage doesn't affect debuff immune units. Units with free movement can now miss their attacks when attacking uphill targets. I didn't know that was a thing before, actually. See, this is a mechanic I didn't even know existed. When you had free movement, you couldn't miss high ground. I didn't know. That's funny. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to items. So there are a couple of new items coming in. You can see there's 4 new ones here. First, it says shop reshuffle. Items in all shop categories except consumables rearranged. Okay, this is just how it's going to look for you in game. It will look a bit different. That's just categorization. New games, new items. First, we have Chasm Stone. This is an item that gives area of effect. So similar to if you have Gleipnir, your rings are bigger. This is just a base item that is worse than Gleipnir gives 75. This gives 40. This item becomes a part of 2 items we'll get to later. Gleipnir is one of them, spoiler. Then we have Shawl, which is a worse cloak. It's cheaper, but gives less magic resist. It's more magic resist per gold, but it's a weaker total item. Splint Mail is a weaker plate mail. It gives 7 armor, but it's cheaper. So it's between chain mail and plate mail. And then we have the wizard hat, which is effectively the fluffy hat, but for mana. These are the new items. And then there's a lot of
Well, you
small
forgot to mention something
changes.
Valve definitely missed, Cinderin, for
Yeah.
the old people out there that weren't listening to the cast. The wizard, I put on my robe wizard. What was it? Fuck.
I put on my robe and my wizard hat.
I put on my robe and wizard hat, the old meme. You cannot build wizard hat with a robe of any kind. They don't combine into anything useful. This needs to be fixed immediately. That is a
Has to be
huge.
something with this and Robe of the Magi. That it's coming. I'm sure they will.
I would
They
hope
love
so.
me. Okay, gonna skip over all the little numbers changes here. Cornucopia is removed from the game. Rest in peace. I think they want this to just be, they want perseverance instead. That's just,
It was a shittier perseverance.
it was different.
Yeah, but everyone remembers perseverance. It deserves to have its limelight again.
And yeah, that's pretty much it until the new items. So new items, we've got 5 of them. The first one, let's take turns at this a bit. I'll start.
Sure.
So the first one is called Consecrated Wraps. It uses Vitality Booster, Shawl, Crown, and a recipe. Costs 2,600 gold. Gives magic resist, health, and all attributes. It has a passive effect called Hallowed. You gain a stack every 3 seconds up until a maximum of 3 stacks. When you take damage from a player-controlled unit or Roshan, all your stacks are removed to create an all-damage barrier for 7 seconds that absorbs 120 damage per removed stack up to 360. If the wearer reached a max amount of stacks at least once in a game, regaining a stack provides a non-stacking buff that increases movement speed by 20% for 7 seconds. I don't understand
This is a very convoluted item. this feels super. Is this like if you're a support and you're playing against Lycan, you pick this up? Is that what this is?
I'm just trying to understand. It says when you hit, if you have had 3 stacks at least once in a game,
Yeah.
regaining a stack gives you movement speed. So does that mean you just want to at any point get up to 3 stacks, and then for the rest of the game, whenever you walk around, every time your Consecrated Wraps gets a stack, you get move speed?
Yeah.
It's just so
I don't know why
weird.
it's not initial. Like, why is that not part of the base passive?
And why doesn't this item get max stacks after 9 seconds? It says it gains a stack every 3 seconds.
It's a weird one.
Like, what triggers gaining stacks? It sounds like it's just existing, which means after 9 seconds of owning this item, it should be maxed out, and from then on out, you should get move speed whenever you get a stack again. Right?
It's not a good sign when we can't understand the item.
I don't know. Maybe we should demo mode this, but honestly, I feel like this is either going to get changed or it's going to get some sort of clarification in the wording, to be honest.
Next item is Krella's Crozier. Is that how you say it? Crozier?
I don't know.
What is
Crozier?
a Crozier? It's a Ghost Scepter, Soul Booster, and 300 recipe, so pretty expensive, 4,800 gold. It gives 6 attributes, 450 HP, 450 mana. It has an active called Rite of Rumusk. That's an artifact term. The wearer enters ghost form for 4 seconds, becoming immune to physical damage, but is unable to attack, and 30% more vulnerable to magic damage. Also steals 5% move speed from enemy heroes in a 900 radius every second. Movement speed lasts 1.5 seconds. Bonuses stack and have duration refresh on gaining new stacks. And then it has a passive component to that as well called Putrefaction Aura. Is that a word? Putrefaction.
Putrefaction, yeah.
Wow. Reduces health restoration of nearby enemy heroes by 30%. While this item is active, the effect is increased to 75%, and all of the lost health restoration is redirected to the wearer every second. This sounds insanely good against certain lineups. And another build-up for Ghost Scepter I think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have to see it in game, but this sounds strong to me. 75%.
A couple of things. First of all, Crozier is it's a hooked staff, similar to it's the ones that bishops are carrying in pastoral office, if that makes sense. You've seen these, right?
Yeah.
And this is effectively Necrophos as an item, right? He also has a Crozier himself as some of his cosmetics. I think he has that staff, right? And it's inspired by him clearly. You become ghost, you take more magic damage, you steal movement speed, which is effectively what Necrophos used to do with his rapid decay facet. where he would steal move speed when he ghost shrouded through people. So yeah, this is heavily inspired by that. So if you thought about that mechanic and thought that was good, this is kind of what you're going to be able to do.
Oh, it's also good against Necro. Right?
Yeah, because it steals health restoration. You'd think so. This is interesting. We'll see. I think we're reaching a point now with new items being added to the game that the level of creativity needed to make them interesting is, I think they're generally trying to maybe be a little bit careful when they put new items in to not make them bonkers numerically. I think conceptually this can be good though.
I think the
on some
numbers
of those.
seem fine already. I mean, it's kind of expensive for support, but
It is expensive. But it gives a lot of tankiness, right? 6 all attributes, 450 health, 450 mana, because it uses Soul Booster and Ghost Scepter.
But this one, to me, seems like a win in terms of design. Consecrated Wraps don't get the point. It feels like one of those neutrals they put in just to test. No, I feel like it's not going to be purchased very often. But we'll see.
I think this is a better design. And I also, to add to the pile of things that I'm not too big of a fan of, I don't like barriers that much. So I think an item which almost only has the purpose of giving you a solo self barrier, I don't think it's particularly interesting, honestly, the Consecrated Wraps thing. Okay, moving on. Essence Distiller, an upgrade to Urn that is not Vessel. So this uses Urn, Chainmail, and Wizard Hat and a recipe. It gives mana regen, all attributes, armor, and mana. And then you can activate it with Soul Release, similar to Urn. You throw it on an ally, you give them health regen. If you throw it on an enemy, it deals damage over time, just like Urn. It gives you True Sight, and it gives you Shared Vision of them. That is the same as the old Bounty Hunter track, where when you track someone, you see everything they see. Both effects last 8 seconds. So this, you're kind of putting this on an enemy, and they are therefore dusted and giving you vision. That's kind of the way to think about it, but not slowed. The effect waits for 15 seconds and provides 400 vision until it disappears. Oh wait, that's if you cast it on the ground. You can put it on the ground to put a dormant effect that will latch to the first enemy that comes within 400 range. So kind of like almost a mini scan for 15 seconds. If somebody walks into the trap, then you get vision of them, and etc. etc. Similar rules to Urn and Vessel. You get a charge if you die and 2 charges if etc.
Would you buy this in a game that does not have a hero that goes invis? The vision thing is interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably
the stats
mostly
are pretty good.
It's cheap, 1,775 gold.
It's a cheap way for supports to upgrade their Urn into something that gives armor and mana. I think it could be interesting, but yeah, it's mainly the True Sight aspect that sounds particularly valuable, right?
Yeah, I kind of dig it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Specialist Array is now an item, not a neutral. Requires Blade of Alacrity, Broadsword, and a 550 recipe, so 2.5k gold effectively. Provides 20 damage and 12 agility. Gives the passive Split Shot for ranged only. So ranged attacks have a 30% chance to fire an additional projectile at up to 2 nearby enemies that aren't the original attack target, within 120 degree angle in front of the wearer and within attack range plus 150. The additional projectiles deal 20 plus 75% of damage of normal attack and do not trigger on hit effects. The primary attack deals 20 plus full damage. They could have simplified this greatly.
Could have probably worded this differently.
Anywho, effectively, it doesn't work on things like Flat Cannon, Split Shot, Gunslinger, because those are effectively the same thing. But
yeah.
I mean, I don't play range heroes, but I think this is a cool thing to add for range heroes as an option, because it feels like if you, correct me if I'm wrong, and it's probably good with it. If you're a melee hero and you want to farm, you go Maelstrom or Battle Fury. I know Battle Fury is not as popular, but now for range heroes, it's not just Maelstrom. Specialist Array you could add, right? It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it gives you an alternative farming route that also has combat potential. That's true, but I think that's an interesting way of thinking about this. Is numerically, is this like, when is this better than Maelstrom?
Yeah, the problem is you can't upgrade it, right?
You can to the next item.
That's right.
But
segue.
Regardless, it's kind of like you're going to be comparing this item. I think is just going to be competing with Maelstrom Mjolnir, and I don't know what you want to do to make it feel like a choice so that in this type of game on this type of hero, I will choose Specialist Array over Maelstrom or vice versa for X reason.
Because
Like
they
I'm
do
trying
the
to
same thing, so one's going to be better than the other, right?
that's kind of it, right? Like it's not, oh, the enemy team has so much magic resist that I will buy a Specialist Array over Maelstrom. Right?
Right.
I don't know, like it's a little bit tricky to put an item like this in the game, but I don't mind the idea. I just need to see I need to see people choosing this over Maelstrom or vice versa multiple times before I get it, and before I like it, right? Because otherwise, this item's just there, and people are buying Maelstrom. So,
It's true.
but we'll see. Um, okay, so the item it upgrades into is immediately under. It's called Hydra's Breath. It uses Specialist Array, Dragonlance, Orb of Venom, and a recipe. So this is another way of upgrading Dragonlance, but obviously that makes you unable to make Pike with your Dragonlance, which is a bit of a problem because Pike is fucking amazing, which already kind of dissuades you from doing this because a lot of the time on range carries you want Pike and Mjolnir. I don't think you want Pike and Hydra's Breath. Then you have two Dragonlances, but maybe there's a way to do it. So this gives 25 damage, 30 agi, 15 strength, and 150 attack range. And its passive is called Miasma, where you poison your enemy for 3 seconds whenever you hit them, dealing magical damage equal to 2.5% of the target's max health per second. If the debuff is reapplied, the duration is refreshed. It can't be applied by illusions or to Roshan. And then it has a passive called Polycephaly, which is effectively an upgraded split shot that hits one more target. It hits 3 nearby enemies instead of 2. The rest seems like the exact same in wording with range, numbers, whatever. I don't think this is that good for 6,000 gold, except against Omega tanky monster late game heroes. Like a really fat Centaur or Pudge or, strength carries with 4 to 5k health, Largo. I just numerically looking at this, I don't see this beating out Mjolnir Pike, but maybe it just needs some buffs then. We'll see.
No, that's a good point that it kind of falls within the same. I mean, the upgrade definitely has a use case, like you said, with the high HP targets. But the base is like you're not going to build it unless you are needing to get Hydra's Breath at some point in the game.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, moving on. Arcane Boots uses Wizard Hat, so now it gives 125 mana. It's a little bit more expensive. But yeah, the base mana is very nice on a lot of heroes, including supports that generally are the ones to buy this. Let's see. We'll just skip over something here. BKB lost its last charge, so it now caps out at 7 seconds instead of 6. That is a big buff, but that is for reasons we will get to later. Blade Mill uses Splint Mill instead of Chain Mill, gives 1 armor. Crimson Guard is significantly worse. It blocks the guard base damage block is is 45 on ranged heroes and 7 for all other units. So it's just worse for ranged heroes to get affected by Crimson. And then one of the biggest changes of the game or the patch for an individual item that exists is Dagon. So now it uses Point Booster, Wizard Hat, and Crown. Recipe costs the same, which means the total cost is higher because the components are more expensive. No longer gives spell lifesteal, but now and gives fewer all attributes, but now it gives health, mana, and cast range on Dagon. The cast range bonus does not stack with Aether Lens or multiple Dagons for whatever reason you could buy that, I suppose. You could think of that. No longer one-shot kills non-ancients and no longer heals you when you use it. So this is effectively a way of trying to give caster utility heroes and supports a way of getting more damage in cast range and more stats. Like the level 1 Dagon sounds like pretty good value. 200 HP, 350 mana, 6 all attributes, and 60 cast range for 3k, and the 400 damage nuke. Could be good.
It's interesting.
I think this takes some time to figure out when this is good, but
Dagon has gone through a lot of changes throughout the years. It used to just be a meme, and now it's picked up on like 2 heroes consistently, otherwise kind of a meme. Will they ever find a spot for it is the question.
This definitely makes it a lot more appealing to upgrade your Dagon because rather than before where you got a bit of spell lifesteal and all attributes, now you actually get more and more cast range, which is an incredibly powerful stat, right?
Yeah, it is.
So if you're a hero that wants to buy Dagon, you go from plus 60 cast range to plus 180 on level 5. But then again, then you're pigeonholing it into, okay, you want to be a hero that buys Dagon and doesn't buy Lens because they don't stack. So how many heroes is that? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, drums have been changed. They no longer use Robe of the Magi. They use Headdress. This means they don't give int, but they give HP regen. I think this is a pretty big nerf. I think the 8 int was a big part of the appeal, or 7 int, excuse me, was a big part of the appeal of this item. Getting strength and int on a lot of heroes was very nice. The mana pool was good. Don't get that anymore. Health regen, I just think almost always is just a worse stat than int, at least at this trade-off. And obviously that applies to Boots of Bearing as well. Eternal Shroud 07. Eternal Shroud removed from the game.
I'm sad. I'm sad.
It was a very gimmicky item in the sense that it was almost never bought anymore. It was at the time very good. I don't know if I like them removing this item instead of rethinking it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess they tried and they just couldn't think of anything. I don't know.
Okay, Gleipnir uses Chasm Stone. That's pretty much it. Glimmer Cape uses Shawl, so it's cheaper to buy the component. Since you're getting the shawl instead of the cloak, it costs the same. Cheaper build-up, but worse first item in the shawl instead of cloak. There's a little fix with Midas. It's just a bug fix. We saw this today. Harpoon can target trees.
It's awesome.
To pull you toward the tree. This is really good. It's just effectively now Harpoon gives you an escape path or the ability to just chase heroes that you can't see by jumping onto the trees next to them if they fog you, for example.
Kez walked so we could grapple trees.
This is basically Kez's second skill in a way, yeah. All right, Heaven's Halberd reworked, excuse me. It might as well have been removed, I suppose. Reworked for the 100th time in 2020 and onward. We're going back to the Glory Day, Shannon. It uses Talisman of Evasion again. So now it gives health, armor, and evasion. And it still has the new, stronger version of the active, where it's only strong dispels that can remove it. And in addition, it has lower cooldown, more cast range, and more disarm duration. I think this halberd is stronger significantly than the Vanguard version. 9 armor and 25% evasion is huge on specific heroes. Unfortunately, heroes such as Huskar, but let's try to make halberd a thing again, right? This is good on some heroes for sure.
I'm sad that there's not another build up for Vanguard though. I think having two build, I mean, not that people were building it, but the idea of having two things you can upgrade into instead of just being forced to do Crimson every time was nice. But they just don't want to make it piercing, I guess. I mean, that would have been really strong, obviously.
Yeah. If you make this, I'm not necessarily against the idea of halberd piercing BKB, but then I think it needs to be like a tier 5, or not tier 5 item, but like a high cost item. Then it needs to be one of those 5k plus gold items if it gets to have that effect.
I don't think that, I mean, what's the issue with that? That's fine.
Having a super strong BKB piercing disarm for late game that you pay a lot for in a similar vein as Abyssal could be the future of this item if this version also doesn't work.
I mean, Nullifier is basically impossible to counter, right? It's like Lincoln's. That's it.
Yeah.
What Heaven's Halberd, if you make it the same price roughly, I don't see a problem with it at all.
Yeah, that could be an angle. Okay, next item that is changed. Mage Slayer uses Perseverance instead of Cornucopia, so same logic with regen. Now uses Blades of Attack instead of Gloves of Haste. Costs 300 gold more. That means it no longer gives attack speed, but now it gives more regen, more damage, and the magic damage from the effect is now physical, and the damage is doubled from 20 to 40. This has some interesting implications. We saw it today played on Ember Spirit by Mikoto. Because it's so much better on Ember since you never used the 30 attack speed anyway. That was just a dead stat almost on your hero. You're just playing Slight Chains most of the time. This is... it being physical means perhaps it has some synergies with minus armor if you're playing certain heroes that can do that. And overall, I think this is just a more interesting item to me. I like this change a lot.
Yep, I think it's
we'll
good.
see about the numbers, but that's cool. Okay, Mask of Madness now grants slow resistance. That's pretty random, um, but okay. MKB costs 300 gold more, but now it also gives 50 attack range to melee heroes. I guess it's because it's Monkey King Bar. It needs to fit the theme of monkey hit from far away kind of thing. Um, Gets 10 more damage and 5 more attack speed for the cost. It's just better value, right? 300 gold for 10 damage and 5 attack speed is very good. And then also attack range if you're melee. It's just a better item. Nullifier uses Splint Mail instead of Helm, so it no longer gives regen. It's just a worse item, I would say, overall. And then Orchid has been changed so that it no longer uses Cornucopia, but it uses Claymore, which means Orchid 2 follows the same pattern of the Mage Slayer, where it now gives no regen, but it gives more damage, and it gives more int. Or excuse me, I said Mage Slayer doesn't give regen. It does, but it doesn't give attack. Mage Slayer doesn't give attack speed. Orchid doesn't give regen, but Orchid gives more damage, plus 10, up from 10 to 20, and then 2 more int. Certain heroes, I think this is a lot better on than the previous one. And Bloodthorn follows the same direction, less attack speed, but more damage and more int. Can you think of a hero that this is like really good on to have less attack speed but way more damage and int that would buy this?
Heroes with Echo Saber that build Harpoon, like Sven, theoretically.
Maybe. It's eluding me right now who this would be really, really good for. I do overall like this direction though, of it being less attack speed heavy and a bit more damage. I think it's good. Okay. Pavis got changed a little bit. It uses Wizard Hat instead of Energy Booster, but the recipe is more expensive. Pavis effectively has been nerfed. And then Solar Crest uses Chainmail instead of Crown, so it no longer gives all attributes, but it gives more armor, and then less mana, but more HP. Overall, probably similar in strength to before. 7 armor on yourself is really nice for some heroes, but 4 all attributes was obviously great. Pipe uses Shawl instead of Headdress, so Pipe no longer gives regen in its aura, only to yourself. And then it uses both Shawl, does it use both Shawl and Cloak, right?
Yeah, there's still Cloak.
Wait, that's weird, no? Okay, so Shawl gives 10% magic resist, Cloak gives 18, and this item that combines them both gives 20. And then it's because the 8% aura also works on you. So that's 28 total. Yeah, okay, that's the same. Makes sense. Cool. Okay, this is one I think I know we both agree on this.
Yeah.
Refresher Orb no longer refreshes items. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was needed.
Yes.
I think it's a good change.
We already saw this in effect in a big way today in the games we cast, where you had a Razor with a refresher and a BKB and the same on a Beastmaster, and they weren't just running around the whole fight avatared. They actually had their 7 seconds of BKB, and then they could die and be interacted with. Refresher Orb is still very powerful for spells alone. This is obviously an insane nerf, because most heroes that bought Refresher for their spells also bought it because they, in addition, could use it with items. I think the item might be too bad now, to be honest.
It's possible, yeah.
But I'm fine with that. Like, then buff it in some other ways. I think it not working on items is really good for the game. Then I would rather have it be better in other ways. Better stats, better cooldown, whatever.
You might see more usages outside of fights, weirdly enough, as opposed to in the fight. Very hero dependent though. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this kind of shapes the pro scene for late game stuff. It was very predictable before, right? Like, all right, I mean, it's like the whole buyback situation. Right? Double refresher, double BKB. Now they can go for them. It's like these little tiny windows of opportunity.
It's one of my favorite changes of the entire patch. It's that one line. So, very good.
Same with facets being deleted, you piece of shit.
I'm less of I actually think that's less of a good change than Refresher Orb no longer refreshing items. I think that's bigger almost in a way for me. But I do overall like both changes, though, mainly the facets thing for the implications it has on the future of the game rather than what it does right now. I think it helps the hero pool be bigger. Because I think they were really struggling with that problem
Mhm.
of keeping all heroes relevant and interesting. So, and above all else, I'm happy to see them actually scrap an idea that they didn't like because I feel like it's been so long since a concept was tried and removed. I don't think I have no problems with them being ambitious and trying something crazy and then saying months down the line or a year, it didn't work the way we wanted
I
to. We're
was
not going to.
reading a comment on Reddit. Actually, it was a post that they made. It's so fucking. Oh, I'm trying not to be negative, Cinder. They made it seem like Valve did this on purpose, knowing that they were going to remove it at some point, as to beta test essentially, to figure out which facets they want to integrate into this. There is a zero, I promise you, a 0% chance that that was the intent.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm not against the idea of the facets being removed. Well, we'll get to that.
Yep. Okay. Shiva's Guard uses Splint Mail and Chasm Stone instead of Veil. That means it no longer gives all attributes or regen. It gives a bit more armor, and now it gives area of effect because it uses Chasm Stone. But it does not stack with other versions of Chasm Stone. So you can't buy this plus a Chasm Stone, and you can't get bonuses from this plus Gleipnir. You're stuck with this. In other words, you cannot get more than 75 area of effect from an item in your inventory. The rest will have to come from neutrals, if possible. So, yeah, 75 is the cap in that regard. I think overall, this is most of the time just going to be a worse item.
Yeah.
The freezing aura also no longer reduces health restoration and incoming heal amp for the enemies you hit. So you lose all attributes, you lose the veil component, and you get AoE. I'm struggling to see what hero this is ever better on than the old version. I just think it's strictly worse on every hero.
It is cheaper, but
it's a lot cheaper. That's fair. It's a lot cheaper. So maybe that's enough to compensate.
I personally don't like this change because it feels like this is one of those big items that you get, and now it's like a medium item. The minus heal was always such a big part of it. I say always. It's been like 8 years or something, right?
Right.
I'm not sure why do you think they wanted to change this? Like just for the shits and giggles? Like what's the actual reason? Just to find more upgrade options with Chasm Stone?
Maybe that, or also to separate items a little bit more, because obviously if you nerf this, you indirectly improve other versions of healing reduction, because then Shiva's doesn't fulfill that purpose. So it makes Vessel better, it makes heroes that have healing reduction better, because you can't quote unquote just buy it.
It makes that new item, whatever it's called, better. I gotta find it. Essence Distiller.
Oh yeah, the distiller one. Yeah, that too.
Wait, no.
And I think perhaps
Krella's Crozier. Sorry.
Maybe they thought this item overall was just too high value to have an item both give stats, armor, spell amp, and healing reduction in one item, and they want to separate it out. So it needs to be more of a conscious choice of which of the things is important to me in the game right now versus I can buy this item and solve all the problems at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part of this that I like. What I don't really like is the buildup. I think the buildup is just lame. Like plate mail, splint mail, chasm stone. It's shit. You're buying armor, and a little AoE item to make this. I think this will be a lot less popular than the previous Shivas, which is not necessarily an issue. I just think the item is so bad until you complete it. With the previous one, you had the pit stop veil on the way. Here, you're just buying like bits and pieces of armor and then that AoE thingy, but nothing like there's something off here. It would be nice to have an intermediary step towards Shiva that isn't just those things. But I say that the old Shiva was, what was it, plate mail and staff of wisdom, right? So
plate mail and staff of wisdom. The
hell's
a staff of wisdom?
Why do I keep calling it staff of wisdom? What is it? It's called
staff of wizardry.
No, the other one, the big one, mystic staff. Holy shit! I don't know why I call it staff of wisdom. The old Shiva was plate mail, mystic staff, and a recipe, right? Which was also a really bad build-up. So get with the times, I suppose. Okay, Veil has changed. It uses Voodoo Mask, Robe of the Magi, Fluffy Hat, and a Recipe, um, which makes sense that it uses Voodoo Mask because now it gives Spell Lifesteal, Int, and Health, and it still does the weakness thing where you do more spell damage to enemies. And then it builds into Bloodstone. So Bloodstone will become the upgraded Veil. And the biggest change about Bloodstone is it no longer dispels, but it has a passive spell weakness aura. So enemies within 1200 radius always take 12% more increased damage from all spells, even when they're not targeted by the active of, or rather, it
Wait.
effectively turns the active of Veil into a passive, right?
Yeah, what is there an active for Bloodstone? Am I missing this?
You still increase the spell lifesteal to 60% when you use it. So activating Bloodstone gives you more spell lifesteal for 5 seconds, and passively you're just a Veil aura for the whole game.
Right.
I think this is kind of interesting. This could be very good on certain heroes, and this is kind of meant to overtake the role of Shivas on heroes like, let's say, Leshrac, right? Now you're getting a 2-for-1, where beforehand you would buy Shivas for the amp and the tankiness, and you could buy Bloodstone to try to survive. But Bloodstone was so bad that
So
nobody ever bought this item. I think now it's interesting.
Bloodstone
the-
Shivas, I assume, synergize. The AoE of the passive becomes larger, I would assume. Right?
For the aura, you would think so, yeah. I
Okay.
think so.
Interesting combo.
But yeah, I think we might see some Bloodstone now, which is cool. Okay, that is it for the items. Then neutral items. I guess maybe you can run with this a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna skip a lot of them. Chipper still in the game. That's good to see.
Do
So,
line 1.
all right. So tier 1 availability changed from 5 minutes to 0. But Madstone crafting for tier 1s has increased from 5 to 6. So a little bit harder to get, but you can get it immediately, which is nice. Forager's Kit is a new tier 1 artifact. This is a weird one. When the item is off cooldown, the wearer can see trees that can be foraged. Standing next to one of those trees for 1 second will give the wearer one of the following items. You can use this every 60 seconds. I'll get to those items in a second. All items except for Bag of Gold. Okay, whatever. So possible items are Ironwood Nut, which, who was it that got that today that was reading it for an extended period of time and did not consume it?
Mira.
That's right, Mira. So this one passively provides 3 movement speed, but you can consume it for 1 primary stat.
Permanent.
Yeah, permanently.
Yeah.
Tomo Khan Ring Cap passively provides 2 int, can be consumed to instantly grant a target 50 plus 5% of their maximum mana. Vital Toadstool passively provides 2 damage, can be consumed to grant a target plus 1% max health regeneration for 10 seconds. If the unit is attacked by an enemy hero, Roshan, the bonus is lost. Or you can get Bag of Gold, which provides 30 gold. So every 60 seconds, you get one of these items if you go stand next to a tree. What do you think of this one?
This is the new Trusty Shovel, right? That's just what it is. It's a new Trusty Shovel where you need to be next to trees, and it's just worse than Trusty Shovel was most of the time. The main thing I'm thinking of is if there's anything broken you can do with these. One of the main things I'm thinking is the Tomokan Ring Cap with the mana restoration is really good with Medusa. You can kind of just heal her as an ally with this. It's kind of like having a Lotus. Because anything that scales percentage of max gets very powerful on a hero like her, right? Because it's EHP. So that's where my mind goes. And then constant permanent attributes could be good, but let's do some math here. Effectively, you get on average 1 primary stat every 4 minutes, because I believe the probability of digging up these items is 1 in 4 for each. So over the course of 40 minutes, you get 10 in your primary attribute if you use this one the entire way and don't change it. It's probably just, it's funny. It's like a little thing to do, and people liked Trusty Shovel a lot, was what I gathered. I never really thought it was that great, but
I can't wait to see this in pro games where they have to go stand next to a tree. I don't know how many options they get, and they just die because they have to go to like a shitty spot. That could be funny. Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Stone Feather Satchel, another tier. Oh, sorry. Possessed Mask is back as a tier 1. Hell yeah. You get lifesteal for that.
Flat HP. Not percent.
Still, I'm sure it's still good. Stone Feather Satchel, tier 1 artifact as well. Toggle Transmogrify.
Transmogrify.
Well, they went to the thesaurus for these names.
That
Activate.
is. Oh, never mind.
Go ahead. What is it?
Shout out. All right.
Oh, okay. Activate to switch the contents of the satchel between feather or rocks. You do this every 6 seconds for no mana cost. So it becomes one of 2 items. Pound of Feathers increases move speed by 12 and distance of forced movement effects on yourself by 30%. Or Pound of Rocks, where you get 3 armor, or you decrease the amount of distance you get for forced movement effects by 30%. Interesting mechanic. I feel like this is one of those, let's test this mechanic.
Yeah.
See if it's useful. I mean, is there a world where it's a tier 1 item, which is the issue, but is there a world where somebody that buys Hurricane Pike would want this? Like keep tier 1?
Potentially. It's also, I mean, it's just regardless, right? It's nice to have a toggle between move speed and armor. You can just move around the map faster at all times, and then if you're about to approach a fight, you can toggle it to give you armor. It's just, it's like feels good for a tier 1. I think it's nice. 12 movement speed is really nice.
Yep.
To just have. And
the thing is though, shouldn't this be a higher tier item with different numbers?
Probably, I agree. I think it should be a tier 2 that does more. That would be a better implementation.
Well, I meant more because like for the force movement thing, like I'm thinking force staff. You're not going to have a force staff during your tier 1s usually, right?
I mean, there's like a few abilities in the game that do forced movement, right? Where you can, by having Pound of Rocks, get pushed less by the enemy team, for example. But like, I don't know. We'll see. It's a fun idea at least. Weighted dice. We talked about this when it came out, that it was either going to be great or trash. People thought it was great. Turned out it was trash.
Shocker.
Now you just get +6 damage in addition to what it already did. Now it's good all of a sudden.
Crippling Crossbow is now a tier 2 item. Numbers have been nerfed accordingly. Medallion of Courage is an tier 2 item now. Has an active valor where, I mean, it's basically the same as before. Cast on an ally, they gain 7 armor for 8 seconds, or cast on an enemy, they lose 4 armor for 8 seconds. Cannot cast on yourself.
It's nice to get for free, though, and it works on Roche. So, pretty good. This one is a strong one, in my opinion. And then Seats of Serenity is back. As a tier 2, same as before, it makes a circle on the ground that heals you plus percentage of your caster's health regeneration. I just don't think this item's that good. I think it made sense as a tier 1. I think it's too bad to be a tier 2 overall.
Whisper of the Dread item cycled out. Not a big surprise because people were just keeping that in like tier 4 slots.
Yeah, it was too good.
Cloak of Flames makes a return as a tier 3. That's the one that does an immolation around you. I always love this item. It's a good one. Let's see. Partisan's Brand, a tier 3 artifact, has a passive that increases spell damage against player-controlled units by 9%.
It's basically replacing Whisper of the Dread in a lower number.
Why wouldn't they just change the change the way Whispers of the Dread work?
I don't know. It's like Whisper of the Dread gave -15% vision and 10% spell damage, and now this one does 9% spell damage, but no vision.
No downside.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Spell Slinger, a new tier 3 artifact, has a passive. Whenever you cast a spell, 20% of the spell's mana cost is restored over 10 seconds. Probably really good on certain heroes.
Yeah, exactly. On some heroes, it might be crazy good. It's an interesting idea. Stormcrafter is back. It's a tier 3. So if you guys forgot, it's the one where every X seconds, now it's 6, it zaps 2 enemies within 700 units, slowing them and dealing magic damage. The new tier 4 artifact called Conjurer's Catalyst, which gives you 100 spell damage. Every 100 spell damage you deal to an enemy hero deals damage to their surrounding allies in 300 unit radius. Hero targets deal 40 damage to their allies, other targets deal 15. This sounds really bad. I don't know, 300 radius, and it's a tier 4? I don't know.
Is this like...
I don't know.
Is this a Darkseer item or something?
I mean, I'm trying to think about how this works if you have like the area of effect increasing items, right? Like if you have like Gleipnir or a Shiva's, if this also increases the AoE on this, so it goes from 300 to 375, then maybe. I don't know if it actually works. But I'm also looking at the numbers. Every 100 damage you deal to one unit, you deal 40 to the surrounding units. But if the AoE was bigger, it would be broken. And when it's this small, I just think at higher levels of play, I don't think this is that often going to matter that much. But maybe it's better than I think when it comes to like proximity of heroes. And also, if you think about the makeup of a fight, if you have a hero that deals a lot of AoE damage in a big area, then there's probably going to be some sort of interjection, if that makes sense, like where someone is in between two different targets that are both taking damage,
Do you know if
and
there's
therefore
a?
they're taking damage from both. I mean, maybe it's better than I.
Do you think there's a VFX for this? Because if there's not, then I think this is bad. Like being able to see this work is kind of important, don't you think? Like we've seen things implemented in the past that have been technically good, but you can't tell what's happening, so they just end up removing them over time.
Yeah. It might. I have a very hard time telling whether this is very good or bad, but I don't think it's in between. I don't think it's okay. All right, Dandelion Amulet's back. Now it's a tier 4. So this has the every 12 seconds you get 300 magic damage block. And then the new one, Enchanter's Bauble, tier 4 neutral, passive enchant. Increases bonuses of the item's neutral enchantment by 15%. Every time you craft this item again, the bonus is increased by 40%. So this is effectively you saying, I don't want the ability of my neutral item. I only want the effect of the enchantment, and I want it to be better. And then when you get to tier 5, that gets a lot better.
I'm confused how that's not just Dormant Curio. But you can Dormant Curio this too. So
yeah, they can interact. Yeah. This is like if you get to tier 5, I think this is incredibly powerful with the right stats on the right heroes.
So good in turbo games, what you're saying.
I don't really know if I like this by design though.
I
Like
don't
get
like
what
it.
they're trying to do, that it's supposed to be like, you know, in like card games, for example, or if you want to simplify strategy games, a lot of the time there's this whole like rush versus tech kind of thing. Do you want value right now, or are you investing in winning later? And this is a win later item. It's just, I don't think the design is particularly interesting. And I think if you want neutral items, then they should do something, right? Like either have them and they do stuff, or don't have them. I don't like Dormant Curio, and I don't like this one. I don't know.
I like Dormant Curio because it's something you can do from the beginning, and it's small.
Better because it's early. Absolutely. It makes it better that it's an early item.
This one feels super out of place to me. I don't like it.
Prophet's Pendulum, new tier 4 item effect. 30% of damage taken is delayed over 5 seconds. Damage ticks every second and is lethal. This is like Kunka's rum for yourself. I wonder how they stack. You might be really hard to kill with this in a boat, potentially.
And this is one of those. I have to see this in action to see the difference, because we thought the DP one was going to be, the facet was going to be crazy, and it was pretty garbo apparently. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah. I don't mind it.
Maybe with the right heroes in the right time, it could be good. Hard to tell. Finally, new tier 5 Harmonizer. Grants 5% mana cost reduction for every hero ability off cooldown and 6% spell amp for every spell on cooldown. I love the idea of this. I think this is super cool. Item spells are affected by both effects. However, item cooldowns don't affect the Harmonizer buff. The buff counts only current abilities that have cooldown, even if it's passive. Invoked abilities and sub-abilities don't count when they're hidden. So you can't just like cycle through 8 invoker spells, put them all on cooldown, and then this Harmonizer does insane damage on your last spells.
So
I just think something like this is a really cool idea. Love that.
I think it's a cool idea. I think this is not good for a tier 5 though. Okay. You know how bad it feels to get Rift Shadow Prism on a hero that that doesn't use illusions? Like tier 5s have become a complete fucking joke. Sorry to say. They're absolute joke right now. This as like a tier 4, tier 3, lower, whatever, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Tier 5, a joke. Absolute fucking joke.
Yeah. I kind of agree. Tier 5 neutral items by effect are probably too weak on average, which makes the ones that are just decent really stand out, like Desolator, the Stygian Desolator one. So I think either make other tier 5s better or make Stygian Desolator and those worse, and then make the enchantment stronger. If you want that angle, if you want the enchantments to carry the item, do that. If you want the part of the item that makes it unique to carry it, then do that. But don't do both, and don't make both too weak
God,
at the same
I
time.
miss Giant's Ring. What a fucking item that was. So good.
This is one of my coolest. This is one of the coolest neutral items they've ever put in the game, in my opinion, from concept. And then it's just a matter of should it be here, should it be lower, what should the numbers be? But the whole idea that you have agency over whether you would rather have mana cost reduction or spell amp, depending on how you cycle and which order you cast your spells in, I think is really cool and super high skill.
But don't you think this is somewhat niche?
Um, there are some heroes that obviously use this way better than others. But again, you can make it more interesting by changing the ways in which it works, right? If the numbers are too shit, do something about that. Or even if you want to do it with other factors than, let's say, spell amp and spell mana cost reduction, just this idea of the order in which you use your spells matters for how your neutral item works. I think that's just cool.
Mm-hmm.
It could be all sorts of shit. It could be damage, movement speed, crit chance, anything, you know.
Yep. Again, as a tier 5, I don't like it because one hero it's going to be completely broken, and then I would say more than 50% of heroes, this would be kind of whatever.
Mhm.
But we'll see.
Final tier 5 item, we get Witchbane back. That is the one that has an AoE dispel on all units in 300 radius with a cast range of 500, 40-second cooldown, 150 mana cost, and the passive, your attacks deal bonus magic damage equal to 4% of target's max mana. This is insane against Medusa, and the AoE dispel is also kind of nutty. I don't like this item by design. I never did. I would rather not have this, to be honest. But it is, you're looking for more powerful tier 5 neutral items. This is one of them.
So funny. I'm trying to remember what the numbers were before. This was a tier 4 before, right?
Yeah.
They may not have changed anything. That's what tier 5s have become, or tier 4s from before. It's so sad.
Okay, then there's a ton of changes to enchantments that we're not going to go over in detail, but essentially, depending on the primary attribute of your hero, you get access to some enchantments and not others. So if you're a universal hero, you can roll certain things that others can't. If you're a strength hero, you get some, etc., etc. And then they've normalized it a lot with when you can get those different enchantments. So first of all, some of the high-level ones have been removed, tier 5s. Boundless doesn't exist. That was the one that gave attack and cast range. Vast doesn't exist. That was the one that gave attack range, damage, and minus armor. And Wise doesn't exist, which was the one that gave ridiculous XP per minute and max mana, and it was only a tier 5. Now, some of the other ones, like Quicken, that was the one with move speed, mana, and evasion, is now a guaranteed option for all heroes at tier 1 to 4. That means you can get it on every single craft, no matter what attribute you are, and no matter what item you roll. Then there's Vital, which is a new one that gives HP regen. Brawny is always available for strength and agi heroes. That's the one that gives HP, health regen, and slow resistance. Tough is available for strength and int heroes that gives damage, armor, and knockback resistance. Alert is available for agi and universal heroes that gives attack speed, attack range, and night vision. And Mystical is available for intelligence and universal heroes, and that one gives mana regen, mana magic resistance, and mana cost, mana loss reduction on highest tier. Greedy is available for everyone on tier 2 and 3. I would like to remove this from the game, personally. I don't think this is good. I think it's better that it's guaranteed than that it's random, which is what it was before, where some supports would get greedy and they would just, by extension, passively outfarm the enemy supports. I just don't think it's interesting. I think it's lazy and just dumb, personally, this one.
Yeah, you just keep doing that, keep removing stuff. You might as well just get rid of neutral items at a certain point.
Well, do you like greedy, though? You could put something else in.
I like tier 5 items, all right? That's all I can think about. I'm in such a rage.
Well, like, greedy is just dumb to me. You lose attack damage, which on a lot of supports is an irrelevant stat, and then you gain a lot of GPM and a lot of mana.
No, I get what you're saying. I don't feel as strongly about it, but I wouldn't miss it if it was gone either. But I mean, my argument is you're making so many of these deletions, you're just neutering these features, these
I
mechanics
understand it's
in
a slippery
general.
slope. I get it. Okay, then we have the final new options. Crude is for strength heroes only from tier 2 to 4. This one gives health restoration and base attack time and minus int. You have Nimble, which is new for agi heroes only. It gives move speed, damage, and minus health regen. Keen-eyed for int heroes only, which gives cast range, mana regen, and minus max mana. And finally, Titanic, which is for universal heroes only, gives base attack damage, status resistance, and minus attack speed. These are, as usual, I love the fact that there's like pros and cons where there's a downside and an upside to certain things in the game. Titanic being a tier 2 enchantment, I find this like it's weird that you can get status resistance on a neutral item that early in the game, and then you lose percentage attack speed at like 15 minutes into the game. It's
Mm.
just, I don't know. There's something about this that just
All right.
feels weird.
Trying to find keen-eyed. What tier is that?
Tier 2 to 4.
You don't think that one's a problem?
The one with the fact that it gives cast range
Yeah,
and minus max mana. I mean, when could you get it until now?
I don't remember. Wasn't it
You could
tier
get it
3?
at tier 2 and 3, right? Yeah, you could already get it in the previous version. I mean, this effectively like supports uncertain ranged casting cores version of getting the ones that give you damage, right? Because cast range is kind of your version of higher impact on supports.
Yeah, timeless is guaranteed now for tier 4 to 5. Evolved, which gives H or stats. Tier 5 always available. Fleet-footed as well. So
Yeah.
getting rid of boots an option for
All of the
everybody.
tier 5s, they've just removed the randomness, right? That's basically it. They're removing the randomness in tier 5. You can get the item enchantment that you want, and then there are some that are gated. So only strength heroes can get hulking, which is health, max regen, and minus attack speed. Only agi can get audacious. That's the one with attack speed, magic damage, and incoming damage. Feverish, which is CDR and mana cost increase, is only for int heroes. And manic, which is also new, is minus base attack time plus cast speed bonus and minus vision for universal heroes. This one is so weird and so fucking strong. Like having base attack time and cast speed bonus on the same hero, there's going to be some universal heroes that this is just busted on, but it's tier 5, so fuck it. I don't
You know,
really.
if they're deleting mechanics, and I'm surprised they didn't get rid of universal heroes. You find that interesting after all these years?
Do you think they're that interesting?
No, not it remotely.
It's funny. All right. Okay, going to neutral creeps. I'll go over this very fast. The TLDR is normalization of the small camp. So part of the problem with the small camp pulling was that the kobold camp was so dog shit at killing waves. They have effectively boosted that camp's damage by about 10%, which helps, but it's still bad, but it's better. They have nerfed the Vools, which were really good at killing the wave. Those were the poison, whatever you want to call them, wolves thingies. They nerfed the ghosts damage. They nerfed the damage of the chain lightning harpy. And they rescaled the damage of the shockwave from the tormentor. That's the big satyr to be stronger on higher levels and weaker lower. And they rescaled Seed Shot from the Warpine Raider to be worse at lower levels and better at higher. This is effectively like a rebalancing focused around small camp being less random and less important which one you roll. And for Chen, Ench, Doom, whatever, certain creeps not being as ridiculous. Like the Harpy Stormcrafter creep was so fucking strong. It's still really good, but it's worse. Just, that's it. There's some changes to the ancient, like the Croaker, the Boglet, etc., but fuck them,
Fuck them.
Yeah. Okay, that's everything until heroes, unless you want to add anything.
Nope. We're going to be skipping some heroes.
Yeah. We'll skip a lot of stuff.
This will take too long otherwise. Let's see.
So for reference, we are about, in terms of total lines of the patch, we're about 25% down. So the last 75% of text is heroes.
Oh, we should mention most heroes, they have an old facet that has been put. Some do not. They just had everything deleted and they just went back to what they were however many years ago. A lot of these we will not be mentioning.
Yeah, a lot of innates now were facets before that became the innate now, where people are like, this was a cool facet, we'll put it on the innate, or this was a broken facet, we'll remove it. That's basically where we're at. So Okay. I'm trying to think of where to start.
Yeah, me too.
Let's do AA really quickly. So AA's innate uses it's called Bone Chill. It scales with your level. It does magic damage with your abilities and reduces their movement speed with every ability. And if the target is a hero, you also reduce their strength. That is the part of Bone Chill from before with the facet that you took, but now it's combined with the innate. And in addition, when you get Ags, you reduce strength a lot more with Bone Chill, which is interesting for potentially different approaches to AA being played, where maybe you can do a lot of damage actually with this when you just try it out. If you have Vortex and you have Cold Feet running and you have Ags and you're hitting them and you hit Ice Blast, maybe this does a fuckload of damage actually, even as a support. That could be an interesting item because of the base strength reduction from Bone Chill effectively being increased by quite a bit.
I want to see carry Ancient Apparition now against like a big tanky hero. Could be interesting.
I don't think you're going to see that, but
come on, Cinderin, believe.
Okay, let's see. Anti-Mage mana break now synergizes with Aghanim's Scepter. It increases the max mana burn by 1.5%. This feels a little bit boring. I don't know. And Blink no longer gets cooldown reduction from Aghanim's Scepter. Arc Warden, his innate is Runic Infusion. You get 1.5 all attributes whenever you pick up a rune with yourself or the Tempest Double. And when you get Shard, the Tempest Double is infused with Arcane, Invis, and Haste for 12 seconds. So you're just making your Tempest Double really strong. X has one-man army as his innate, and the Code of Blood is now, as usual, like old times, you get armor from killing heroes with Culling Blade, but only with Culling Blade. So if you want the bonus armor, you need that dunk.
Bane has an interesting innate now. Every time Bane kills an enemy hero or they die under the effect of any debuff he applies, they receive a terror for the rest of the game. Each terror stack decreases the enemy's status resistance to all of Bane's debuffs by 5%. And before you get too excited, it can only stack 5 times. But still.
This is an interesting thing, though. That I think this is the first time ever in the game's history you have something like this, where getting killed under the effect of something of an enemy gives you a permanent debuff against them for the rest of the game. I don't think we've ever had that in any way.
That's possibly true.
It's kind of interesting. Also, Nightmare's vector target now. So it's not they walk. You can basically walk them in any direction.
Yeah, it's the facet.
It's just the base spell. So you just have that on Nightmare in general, because that was the facet people were taking anyway. And now you just have it in general.
Yeah, it's chat saying Silencer stealing Ant technically, I guess is true.
I guess I feel like it's a little bit different.
I mean, stats resist is stats in a way. It's close.
Yeah, fair enough. Beastmaster no longer has Rugged. That was his old innate where he took less damage from creeps. Now his innate is Inner Beast. And Wild Axes get upgraded with Shard. That's the old facet where you applied stacks of Wild Axes with your attacks on enemy heroes, where you could activate that beforehand. Now that's the Shard that you buy. And Beastmaster now, instead of having Inner Beast as a skill, now he has Boar and Hawk as 2 separate skills. The Hawk summons 2 Hawks, and the Boar has been buffed. So you're basically choosing as Beastmaster, do I focus on axes or do I focus on summons, or do I do a hybrid, and which summons are more important? When you get the 2 Hawks, they both do Dive Bomb, and they're tankier than before, but the Dive Bomb effect is less than before because you have 2 of them. So
today we learned that Hawks can be called Raptors as well.
Yep, that's right.
Did not know that.
Okay, Bloodseeker's Shard. Now, the pure damage based on target's max health. It pierces debuff immunity. This is a really big buff to this. Now, Bloodseeker kills BKB heroes a lot better.
That's nice.
Bounty Hunter's innate has been reworked. He gets 15% more kill and assist gold if he kills a big game hero, which is any of the enemy's top 3 net worths. At any point, he can see if the enemy hero is in the top 3. he and his team can basically the whole game see who the top 3 enemy net worth heroes are, but they can't see how much gold they have or anything else, except if he tracks them. He can see how much they have in the bag. Um, okay, then there's a lot of little things. Unsurprisingly, Centaur's innate
My
is
boy.
now horsepower. That was the one everybody took, where you don't have to buy boots because you get part of your strength as move speed, and it doesn't stack with boots. So effectively kind of changes nothing, really, because this is what you would take anyway. What was in his innate before?
Innate, you just
Raw.
gain HP per level. So you're getting
You got
less overall, even though you got
was
a
it per
buff.
level or per minute of game time?
Oh, you're right. It might have
Raw.
been. It might be per minute, actually. Per 5 minutes.
Remember.
I think it's per
Yeah,
5 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, Chaos Knight is interesting. So he lost his Reigns of Chaos, and now he has a new innate called Fundamental Forging. That's the one that's related to neutral items. When Chaos Knight crafts a neutral item, it gets an additional random enchantment that doesn't provide negative stats. The random enchantment is selected from all available enchantments in that tier, including ones that are normally not available for strength heroes. Due to negative stats, Chaos Knight can't randomly get crude, keen-eyed, nimble, titanic, greedy, hulking, audacious, feverish, and manic. So in reality, he can't really get that many different ones, I suppose. The random enchantment is different from the one used in crafting. So every time you make a neutral item, it's just a better version, rather than the old one, which was you can craft one tier higher. I think this is a fun idea. I don't know how good it's going to be, but
Well, one thing I want to say about not
Yeah.
just this, but the patch as a whole, one thing I do like is that they are kind of going more into theme-based
yeah,
mechanics.
yes.
So I always found CK kind of interesting, even though his facets were kind of weird. They remade it a bit into this innate, and I think that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I mean it's free stats, I guess. But the fact that it's random, you could get something that's completely useless to CK potentially. But and then you want me to read the ags, the phantasm, because I didn't know this was based on the ags. I thought this was just the ult that you were talking about earlier today. But Phantasm Ags no longer guarantees to create an additional illusion on cast, but Ag's Scepter now provides a passive component to the ability. Whenever an illusion of CK is created, so enemy or ally, there's a 50% chance to create an additional illusion under CK's control. Bonus illusion will be under Chaos Knight's control, even if the illusion is made by an enemy. So Shadow Demon making it, it doesn't matter who makes it. You can still buy Manta. I think this is really cool. But I didn't realize it was part of Ags, which makes it a bit unfortunate. But I guess understandable because it's probably strong.
I feel like you can make a shitload of CKs if you go Ags Manta, you know? Go Ags Manta and play with Shadow Demon, and all of a sudden there's like 10 horses on the screen.
The Ags still gives illusions of your whole team, right?
Yeah.
And breaks
But
the server.
you can't get bonus illusions from them, only from the one you make of yourself. So, but yeah, that's the
that's true.
additional part of it. I don't know. In terms of theme, I just think this sounds really cool. I don't know how good it is. It's just fun. And I'm on board with that. Like, then you can tweak the numbers. The goal of patches in Dota should be to make things fun and interesting, and then fix the numbers as needed. As long as it's fair. Like, the problem I've had with the previous patches, or at least especially the one we just had, was that since the introduction of facets, a lot of heroes have just lost their way, where other heroes got really strong facets and they made them really good. And the heroes that didn't get good facets were just shit comparatively. So the competitive hero pool and the pub hero pool alike actually shrunk a lot, at least in Immortal. I think the last 6 months or year of play has probably had, in my eyes, the least hero diversity across the board. And people just got fed up with it, I want to say. Like, some people just got bored with Dota, and that's obviously the goal, is to avoid that. You want the game to feel fresh and not every game is the same. So
Yep. It could have been a byproduct of the facets.
definitely, I without question think they did play a part. It's just a matter of how big of a part was that. But okay, do you want to run it a bit?
Chen has Zealot as his innate ability, has both passive and active components. When Chen respawns, he's joined in battle by a Zealot, a melee creep warrior with the Martyrdom ability, which allows him to sacrifice himself to deal damage or heal an ally. Zealot has the same stats as the current melee creeps on his team, including super or mega form, but has 125 attack range, base damage increased by 2 per Chen's level, base health increased, blah, 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 and doesn't have runty attack type, which I can't even remember what runty means.
That's the one that the creeps have. So the attack type of this is probably better against heroes.
Yeah. Martyrdom basically blows himself up, right? To heal an ally. So this is in replacement of the facet that you can choose a creep to start the game with, which was pretty strong.
Everybody chose 1 or 2 of the 6. There was so little diversity, which is why I think they axed that idea and just gave him 1 here. Because do you remember casting a game where it wasn't the yellow tomato, the potato, or originally the soul stealer? I think that was just every game.
I couldn't tell you.
You had so many options, but you always chose the same, so it wasn't interesting. Right?
But Holy Persuasion can be used on regular creeps to make them into zealots. So they're going all into this idea of the martyrdom, which I don't know if I've ever actually. What did you need to get to use martyrdom before? Anything, or was it just part of the basic spell? When they originally created martyrdom, it was the Ags, I think, right? They had like a weird Ags, but did this become just part of the ability?
Right. There was that for a very short time, yeah.
Because like in the last patch, though, where would you get martyrdom? Is it just part of the basic spells?
It didn't exist.
Oh, it didn't exist. Okay.
I don't think it existed last patch. Did it?
That's why I was saying I've never actually seen it used. I never noticed it being used.
Last patch was Big Bad Voodoo, right? Make everyone else around you spell immune or debuff immune and give them magic resist, like BKB, which still is his Axe, by the way. I don't know. It's just funny to see this whole approach to zealotry and this, because it reminds me of Prelix, actually. That's what it makes me think of.
Prelix?
Which is, a hero in Artifact.
No, I am aware who Prelix.
You know, I'm saying it for the audience.
Wait, how does it remind you of
Prelix? She was centered around spawning regular melee creeps every turn, right, around herself. And I feel like they're trying to put Chen in a direction where he interacts a lot more with the creep waves and less with the jungle, right? That's what they're trying to do by trying to entice you to persuade creeps instead of jungle. Because it's only the range, it's only lane creeps that become zealots. If you take things in the jungle, they don't get zealotry benefits. So
this sounds like they could just add Prelix to the game instead.
Yep. I don't know. My mind just went there. I just thought of it. Also, the logo for Zealot reminds me of Prelix too, right?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Okay, moving on.
Oh, your favorite Clockwork. So everyone's favorite facet that was used every single time is now his innate. You can
it's so funny.
You can eat chainmails to gain 4 armor permanently. How do you feel as a Clockwork enjoyer?
Unlike every other hero we've gone to so far, and a lot that are yet to come, or most of them anyway, it's been either a good or an interesting facet that became the innate for those heroes. And on Clockwork, it's the fucking Mimi one, not the big cogs that everyone took every game. And I was like, I had the theory that obviously I didn't expect us to lose facets, right? But I said, I think the big cogs will become the innate and he will have other facets. And now instead they remove facets and then they make the fucking shitty one the innate. It's so funny.
I take it by your reaction, you don't think this is a good innate, correct?
I mean, not really. It's a little bit better than before because Chainmail got 50 gold cheaper this patch, but like you lose big cogs, which was really good for the hero in general. And I personally, I don't mind this. I think it's good Clockwork doesn't have the big cogs, so I don't mind that. But then he needs some serious buffs to compensate because that was the ability that made him competitive. And if you just scroll through this, there's a lot of buffs to overclocking, which is the Ags. But for the cogs themselves, Clockwork can now move freely through the cogs, sinking them down while walking over them. Other units can also walk over sunken power cogs. So if you're like using the small cogs, you try to get out to bounce them inward toward the enemy. When you walk out, they can just follow you.
Yeah.
So they need to be stunned in there for you to overtake them so that you can bounce them. But I assume if you manage the amount of chain bouncing you can get inside the small cogs, I assume, is really, really good. But it's a lot harder to catch them because you don't have the big cogs to suck them in with. So this is a lot more like old Clockwork, and I
Wait,
just don't think he's been
have you
compensated.
tried this in game?
I can demo it right now
Because
if you
at
want.
no point does it say that you can bounce cogs in the patch notes. That was not part of the basic cogs.
Oh, so you're saying you can't do that at
No,
all anymore?
I'm just saying, if I'm just reading these patch notes, it doesn't sound like you can do that.
You can.
So okay.
You can still attack the cogs. That's part of it. I was like, holy shit! If you lost that too, the hero's just dog.
Okay, so they just didn't include it in the patch notes.
Yeah. So
One,
you can still play bowling, but
yeah, I'll have to see it in game. It sounds
this
interesting.
must be worse than the old clock for now. But I like the direction. I think this is better because I think the big cogs were just kind of dumb, but
Yeah.
then make the hero better in other ways.
So this is something that I have been wanting for Clockwork is the Ags rework. Overclocking, I hated because it's literally you're just spamming rocket flares just for rocket flare. And the whole point is to amplify all your spells. And now that's basically the case. So it's increased by 5 seconds. So 18-second duration. Battery assault, the radius increases by 330. Power cogs, also the radius. I guess you can do your bouncy shit with that now, right?
I need axe though. But yeah.
It provides 25% bonus armor to Clockwork while he is near cogs. Interesting. No longer gives attack speed while inside power cogs. That's fine. Now rocket flare damage, vision, and slow duration increases rocket flare vision and slow duration by 35%, but it loses the CDR aspect. I think this is much better version than before. Whether it's good or not, debatable.
I think this makes so rocket flare's cooldown is, for reference, is 14 seconds. So that means with overclocking, you could do it twice.
That's fine.
The old one, you could do it way more often.
That's fine. If you really want to spam rocket flares, get level 25. You have 3 extra charges.
I don't know. It feels like this is trying to turn Clockwork into a core that depends on Ags, but the issue is he's not good enough to be played as a core even with this, I think. So it's kind of I think it's more important that this hero is strong in the first 15 minutes of the game, which is what he always was, than trying to make him better later and weaker early. Because then you're at that point you're just gutting the hero's identity, right? It's like trying to make Treant a core, which was also bullshit, you know? Like
that was not bullshit. I love that build.
It's funny if you run it but it's not good, you know? Like I'm always going, this is obviously my competitive mindset when I read changelogs and think about the game in general. I think about what wins, not what's fun. And I understand to a lot of players, it's just about having fun, and that's great. But this is not good, and therefore I don't like it, because you're supposed to make the heroes feel... You're supposed to be able to be successful with every hero at a high level. And I think this makes Clockwork less likely to be successful. And he didn't need that, right? Some heroes were overpowered. They need to be less likely to be successful. I don't think Clockwork fell in that category. He was not a broken hero.
Am I crazy that increasing the radius of battery assault makes the spell worse?
Depends. It's situational.
It includes more units, so then you're not hitting the target you're next to all the time. Like, I'm trying to think.
How many units does it hit with Ags?
How many what?
No, it affects all enemies in your range when you have overclocking running, if that's what you mean.
Oh, it does.
It hits everything.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's good then. Nice.
So it's just it is better.
That's how it worked before then. That's why it's not in the notes, right?
The Ag sounds quite powerful, but in reality, it's not that good.
We'll see.
Or rather, it is that good, but the opportunity cost of getting there is just shit. Your hero farms badly. It doesn't pressure early. So you're taking away the things that make it good and try to make it into this. It kind of feels like Treant, where it's like you're trying to make him, with Ags, make him a core, but in reality, the hero doesn't work as a core, so nobody does it. It's kind of just like, it's just pointless. But I'm sure if this makes Clock shit, they will buff him soon. I think his win rate will tank, and then he will get some love, and that's
good. Fine. Sounds good to me. So what's the next hero on the list? Big juicy boy.
Well, first I'm going to turn down my volume by 1. If you guys noticed a little bit of a skip in the recording, it's because we switched to Discord, because now the sound works.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now you don't
It
cut out every
works.
time I talk on top of you. That's nice.
Yeah, that was annoying, but we did what we had to do to get the recording through. Okay, next up, Crystal Maiden. Yes, go
Glacial
ahead.
Guard is the new innate. A portion of the mana Crystal Maiden spends on her abilities is converted into your favorite, a physical barrier for 8 seconds. Barriers stack, but each instance has an independent duration.
This is interesting because previous CM used Crystal Nova for this, and you need to cast it and hit yourself with it. Now it's just spend mana. It says on her ability, so I'm assuming that doesn't count with items. But if you spend mana casting spells offensively, you just get barrier. It's kind of like Shield of the Scion on Skywrath was before, where when he deals damage, he would just gain magic barrier. This is kind of Crystal Maiden's physical barrier version of that, just that she doesn't even need to deal damage to anything. She just needs to cast spells.
Yeah.
And Arcane Aura also gives Maiden mana regen amp. This is a pretty big buff, actually, overall, when you look at this. This hero could be making a comeback, which I would be happy to see. I always thought CM is an iconic hero and fun. So, okay. Darkseer Aggrandize is now called Quick Wit, which means it now does the Aggrandize part, which is leveling up, you restore HP and mana, and then you get attack speed per point of int you have. Willow's has been improved, so she gets 20% mana regen, health regen amp the whole game, and then it's 100% whenever she's untargetable or invulnerable. And you do, maybe I should do Dawn because it's one of my favorite heroes. I'll do Dawn. +6 base damage, which is already huge. Any hero getting this is a big deal. It comes at the cost of her innate Break of Dawn, gives less max damage during peak of day compared to before. Instead of 25%, it's 10% plus 1% per level. But this obviously means that she's a better hero the entire game during nighttime because she has flat bonus that doesn't fade. And as she levels up, she becomes even stronger than she was before during daytime. So I would say this is clearly a buff to the hero. When you get Ags, the heals you provide scale with Break of Dawn's current value. So the more damage you have from Break of Dawn, the more you heal with Ags. I still think the Ags is kind of bad now, so probably won't see that much. And Ags no longer increases heals per pulse, so kind of whatever. But yeah, she is... I think she's better. It's cool.
Okay, Dazzle has a new shard, I think.
Yep.
Applies a stack of weave on an ally that heals them for 60 per stack of weave, including the stack that was just applied.
Okay. If you get to chain spells, this heals a lot.
So that's basically the innate that is buffed.
Yeah. If you
we can skip
Shadow Wave someone and grave them and Shadow Wave them again, they start healing incredible amounts because it stacks with itself.
So very Disruptor strong. Kinetic Fence, which was the facet that we saw sometimes, I thought was kind of cool, is now granted by Ag Shard. No longer shares level with Kinetic Field. So the way I'm reading this is it's just a standalone ability, correct?
Yeah, you get an additional spell, so you have both Field and Fence. This sounds really good, by the way.
Really good. Wait, do you still get the 2 charges?
I think you get 1.
There's only 1.
I can demo that, though. Whether you get 2 or 1, I just immediately thought it was only 1, but whether you get 1 or 2, just the fact that you have both at your... I think it's like very... This is the kind of change that I just love. It gives the player agency and it's really high skill. Yeah, you have both. 1 of each. That means if you get Refresher, you can draw a dick. You can make 2 kinetic fields and then 2 kinetic fences.
Get on Reddit with that one, boys.
Need to draw dick and balls with Disruptor, guys. Get on it. The turbo build.
All right, Doom got some changes. I'm not sure it's even a point to talk about level pain. Everything has a 6 or a 66 or a 666 now. So level pain has a 66 AoE. Devour now can be upgraded with Shard, replaces it with 2 charges. So that's one of the fastest from before. Yep. Scorched Earth has 666 radius. Infernal Blade stuns for 0.66 seconds. Doom has damage increased from 65 at level 3 to 66 at level 3. Ag Scepter now applies Break to affected enemies. The question now also, so it's still the AoE, I believe.
Yeah.
and it no longer increases the damage at all because they want to keep it at 66, of course. And then the level, I mean, not that this is super important, but I think it's just cool to talk about. The level 25 talent that used to break with Doom is now replaced with Permanent Scorched Earth. Becomes toggleable with no mana cost.
Yeah.
Sounds fucking awesome.
It's so that you can choose not to aggro creeps and use it during smoke and whatever. The biggest thing in all of this is his level 15 talent. I know we haven't really mentioned them for other heroes, but Doom gets plus 66 damage as a level 15 talent. We saw it played today by Nightfall as a carry. The moment I saw this line, I was like, Doom is back as a carry. Like, that is just a ridiculous buff to just get that at 15. 66 damage is crazy. Also, one thing you didn't mention about the shard, you get the 2 charges, but not only that, the spells you gain from creeps you devour when you have shard have 20% bonus AoE and 40% spell amp. So there's like some interesting creep that you eat for whatever reason with shard, it gets a lot better. And even if you just have the wolf aura, it will have 20% bonus AoE. So it'll be up from 1200 to 1440. We also saw that today. It's creative, it's interesting, it's kind of fun.
I love these changes to Doom. I really like it. Very nice.
One of my favorite changes by the removal of facets is coming up now. That is Dragon Knight.
This one I'll agree with. Yeah.
I never liked the way this hero lost its identity when facets were introduced. I actually think it broke the hero rather than make him cooler, whereas for a lot of heroes, the facets gave them some new perspective. Dragon Knight has his old ulti back. So you get Green Dragon level 1, Red Dragon level 2, and Blue Dragon level 3. It's how you guys remember Corrosive, Cleave, Slow, healing, whatever. I think it doesn't do healing reduction, does it anymore? I don't think so. I think it just slows. And then his Axe gives the Black Dragon form, still with all the stuff you guys remember. So this is a lot of text, but it's effectively saying Dragon Knight returned to former version. Breathe Fire has a lot more cast range, though, up from 600 to 1k. Yeah, and then there's a little bit of taunts, but there's a lot of text to TLDR. Old DK is back, baby.
Yep, I'm happy about that.
That's nice. Love that.
Okay, I think we can skip Drow.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip a couple here, actually.
Our Spirit, our Shaker gets the
Elder
Slugger
Titan is next.
as the innate. So Elder Titan Momentum is the new innate ability, passive. Elder Titan's armor increases by 3.6% plus 0.4% per level of his bonus movement speed. Only counts movement speed that he has above his base 305 value. This ability can't reduce Elder Titan's armor when he's slow below the base speed value.
Okay. Good. If anybody didn't catch that, essentially you get armor when you get more move speed after over your base move speed.
And Astral no longer gives armor on return, so that replaces it effectively.
Yeah. But if I read this correctly, it also means like buying boots on this hero gives you armor, right? Because it's all your bonus speed.
It's just his base 305, so anything above the base.
So everything you're above that gives armor. It's kind of interesting. Special. Okay, Ember Spirits no longer has, or his immolation is now just his innate. The reason I highlight this is I know this hero technically didn't change all that much. Just wanted to mention, Sleight of Fist got buffed a lot, and we're going to be seeing, we saw that today with Mikoto, we're going to be seeing 440 Ember or 341 Ember again, because the good old Sleight of Fist chains combination Ember, it will be the style you'll see again. Also remember what we talked about with Mage Slayer being better for Ember. That's the way this hero is going to be played, and you don't have Chain Gang anymore, so you can't do the dumb stuff with just throwing out a Remnant and your Remnant roots people. I never liked it. I'm way happier to see this hero back to his old style. I think this is what Ember should be played as, and the other style was just boring.
Yep.
So, good.
Okay, Enchantress, I think we can skip.
Yep.
Enigma has a new innate ability, Event Horizon, passive. Units in a 600 radius moving away from Enigma have a move speed penalty equal to 4% plus 1% per level. Okay. That was what was that part of before? Was that a facet? No.
No.
It was something, though. This was a thing before.
That enemies had movement speed penalty when walking away from Enigma?
Yeah. It was part of like an ability.
You don't mean the Ags pulling people toward the black hole?
No. I remember reading this somewhat similar thing.
Was this just was this a facet before?
Yeah. Chat saying it was a facet.
It was just a facet?
I don't think we saw this that often. I mean, yeah. Okay. Either way.
Okay.
Faceless Void, big news. Chronosphere is the default ultimate ability. Rip and Pepperoni's the time zone. Maybe they can make a new hero with that one, I suppose.
Time zone was stupid. Don't mind it.
Ag's Shard upgrades time dilation. Let's see. So duration no longer counts for time dilation while under the effect of Chronosphere. That was kind of part of the time zone, right? Ag Shard increases attack/movement slope per cooldown by 5/5%. Provides Faceless Void with bonus move speed and attack speed by the same values per each enemy cooldown extended. The bonus degrades over the duration of the buff.
Basically, the TLDR, if you have Shard on Void and you slow people down, you slow them more and you gain bonuses based on how much you slowed people. So you're kind of like...
Was
this
kind of part of Time Zone before a little bit? Or did that just lower cooldowns?
It lowered cooldowns and it... did it also steal? I don't think it stole anything. See, the fact we can't even remember it. Time Zone went through like 4 versions and they were all weird. Obviously, the most broken one was the one that leashed. But
yep.
Yeah. And I think you didn't mention the Scepter, right?
No.
So Scepter now carries the old Shard, which makes the Scepter exceptionally valuable because you get the attack enemies you jump through and you get reverse time walk on the same item. Scepter is a very strong purchase now. And I think we might see Voids go for that build more. There was a build last patch where you would go Battle Fury Ags. I think that build is just better now than it was before because you get the Shard for free.
Didn't the Shard also increase the range of Time Walk, or was that an older one?
I think it increased the range, and this does not.
No,
right?
So you lose that aspect.
So you lose the range, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Gyrocopter gets Afterburner as his innate. It's the one that makes you faster when you hit enemies with the Rocket Barrage. He loses Chop Shop, which I think was just weird and hard to balance. It was unique, similar to the one with Doom, where you could resell items for some percentage of value instead as a facet, but I don't mind that they're gone. They were kind of cute, but also...
I think we can skip Hoodwink. What about your Huskar? I actually didn't read this one. Is Cauterize gone? It looks like it.
Cauterize is out because it's no longer... It was a facet, right? But he can buy it with Shard.
Yes.
And I think that's fine.
Oh, really?
That's a totally different thing. Now you actually need to pay to be stupid. You don't get to be stupid for free.
I'm surprised you like this.
I don't mind. Huh. I don't mind that it's purchasable. I think there's a difference between heroes just with a facet patch just solving the problem the hero inherently has and now giving them the choice to choose to pay for it. I think that's fine.
To be fair, it is pretty cheap though.
And
they will be purchased. This is something that will be purchased.
It probably will, but considering that you got something similar for free before, it's just a nerf, right?
No, of course.
And that's fine.
For how much hatred you had towards, I'm just surprised that you still don't hate it.
I really disliked it because it was a facet that was the antithesis of the hero. That's why I didn't like it. It's like, thematically, sure, it fits with like blood sacrifice or whatever, but Huskar is meant to be an equilibrium hero where you get punished for getting low and losing your healing and being piled on top of with stuff, and he just had a one button, haha, you're not piling stuff on me. I just thought it was stupid, but
what was his
now you
old
can
shard?
Buy protection. That's different.
What was his old shard? It had to do with inner fire, I think.
You mean his old innate?
No, his shard. Because this replaces whatever it was.
Does it do both now?
No.
It doesn't say it replaced it, right?
Well, they haven't been using that text generally.
No, it's right. You just get cauterized.
Oh yeah, it was healing from the inner fire.
You got healed by every hero you hit with inner fire, right? 50% or something?
Yeah. Okay.
It was pretty bad.
So this one is interesting. Invoker obviously has so many different. His facets were very interesting. I think you would agree with that because you just get different ags and shards, which I was hoping they would do for every hero, but those times are gone. Instead, now when Invoker gets Aghanim Scepter or Ag Shard, these items are inert in the inventory until Invoker activates them manually. Upon activation, he'll be presented with 3 upgrades to choose from. Upgrades themselves for both Ag Scepter and Ag Shard are unchanged. You cannot change the upgrades. So selling Ag Scepter and rebuying it will give you the same upgrade you chose the first time. Don't fuck it up, is what they're saying. No longer gives the extra orb stat or whatever, the level. This is cool. I feel like this is an easier version eventually down the road that they could do for every hero, personally. But conceptually, this is awesome. I like that one.
I like it. It means you pigeonhole yourself less at the beginning of the game with saying, I need to play Invoker like this. Now it is, you get to a point and you choose, with the way the game has gone, I would like to be this, that, or whatever. I think that's really nice. I like it. It's clever.
But you make it, I think nice the way it was, like, we can talk about facets all we want. We'll get to it at the end. But this was one facet, the way that they did it for Invoker, that I don't even play the hero. I loved the idea. I think it was super cool. And they were able to.
But don't you like it more that you can choose it in the game than choosing it before the game starts?
I don't know. The idea of choosing something before the game starts, it's just a different decision. You're making it before the game starts, so it predicates what you're going to be doing, which you're saying you don't like. I think that's fine personally, but I mean, this is cool too, so I'm not too upset.
Within the framework of removing facets, this was a really clever way of keeping that part of what makes Invoker's facet cool, right? Kind of putting it in a new way.
Wait,
it's nice.
So somebody's telling me, wait, hold on a second. Can you choose a specific Ags and a specific Shard, or are they tied still together? You know what I mean? If you get the Cataclysm, can you get the Forge, or can you get something that isn't the Forge Spirit, like the EMP maybe?
Let me buy Axe here. So I just bought Scepter and I picked Exort and clicked confirm. Like you need to fill out some box.
You have to fill out your credit card information after that too?
Click confirm. That's awesome. Yeah, you can combine them in any way you want.
Ooh, okay, that's cooler then. That's much cooler.
That's even cooler. Yeah, they're not locked. And the UI for it looks really cool too.
Well, now I'm interested.
Yeah, you would have to show that on screen yourself if you want to show it. But effectively,
I'm showing.
You know, on every hero where you're looking at Shard, I'm explaining it for the audio listeners now. So if you think about in the UI where your Shard icon is and then your Ags icon, the 2 blue icons, around the Scepter, there's the 3 orbs, and the ones that light up are the ones you have chosen to upgrade. So you can see at the UI at first glance.
This looks just like... I'm not saying they copied it. I'm just saying it's funny. This just looks like Relic Arena when we're picking supers.
I was going to say it looks like Aghanim's Labyrinth too.
So funny. All right.
Doesn't it look like Ag's Lab too when you chose your spell or whatever?
That's cool actually. Yeah, the UI, I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, and then the UI lights up.
Wow.
And you can see the...
Wait, I don't even remember what I chose. What did I choose? Exort?
You chose Exort. So choose another one, then both orbs will light up. And then you can see the Scepter is red because you chose red Scepter, and the Shard is pink because you chose pink Shard.
That's cool.
This is really smart. Like,
Very
I love it. This is a really nice UI.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's super spectator friendly, and yeah. Props for that. That's really nicely done.
All right, back to the notes.
Okay. Yeah, Io got a new innate called Equilibrium. Io always has bonus outgoing damage amp, which scales linearly with its health, reaching a maximum of 5% plus 0.5% per level at 100% health. At the same time, Io has health restoration and healing amp, which also linearly scales with its health, reaching a max at 5% plus 0.5% per level at 0 health. So the more health you have, the more damage you do with your spells, or with all damage. It says outgoing damage amp, so it's all damage. And the less HP you have, the more you heal. And now we're back to the old overcharge, which is just attack speed and spell amp to you.
Is it possible to just give him an innate that isn't weird for once? Like every time they add something, it's just fucking so convoluted.
I think I like this a lot, actually. I think it's very thematic. I don't know if the numbers are good, but
Next.
Cool. I think this makes core IO a lot better because you get more damage.
All right, Juggernaut. Blade form is the new innate. This is the
Let's quickly mention that Jakiro got mana cost on Liquid Fire and Liquid Frost until you buy Shard, just so people don't get triggered that nothing happened to fucking Jakiro.
Yep, good riddance.
Yeah.
Juggernaut gets the old facet blade form when you don't take damage for 2 seconds. You get stacks of agility and movement speed.
Yeah, this was a facet before.
Ag Shard used to be the Blade Fury moves. Was it slow move speed AoE, something like that?
Yeah.
Now it gives the healing ward an increase of 1.5% in healing and an extra hit to destroy. Which, did they get rid of the talent for that? Yes.
Yep. Yes.
I mean, that's a good shard, though. Like, healing ward having 2 attacks to kill is quite strong. And obviously the heal is even better.
I feel like almost no carries will be willing to cough up 1,400 for this.
You don't think so?
I don't think people are willing to, because think about what it means to buy this. It means that you're falling half an item behind the enemy carrier, right? Effectively. You'll get this for free or you'll buy it when you're 6 slotted. I think almost every game has carry jug because you can't afford getting overtaken on damage. So I personally don't really like this as the shard because I think this is a shard that is tailored for playing support jug, which this hero should not. It doesn't need to be flex at all. It doesn't need to be able to be a support. I think it's fine that healing word is 1 hit on all levels and you just get rid of that talent. Fuck that. And then make him better in other ways. But this shard is kind of meh to me. I don't know. You're not going to buy it, I think.
Coddle, new innate ability, Bright Speed. He gains 1 movement speed for every 2.5 int. Was this a facet? Whenever Keeper of the Light moves 300 distance, he leaves behind light that allows him to see in 400 range for 3 seconds. Wait.
The facets before where you chose between Solar Bind and Recall.
When you move 300 distance, you leave behind a light that allows you to see 400 range. Interesting. Huh.
I need to demo Coddle right now. I need to see what spells he has with ult. Like, does he have neither of them now? Or what?
Yeah, it doesn't say technically.
Okay, you have Solar Bind.
So Blinding Light, Solar Bind, Chakra Magic, Spirit Form. Wait, what wasn't there another one missing then? Oh, I guess Mana Leak is really old.
Wait, sorry, what were we comparing?
Nothing. Just talking out loud.
Yep.
Usually people do that to be able to speak.
So yeah, he has Solar Bind, and Shard is still 2 charges on Solar Bind. And the better heal, I think, right? Yeah, it's the same Shard.
Oh, okay. Recall is what I'm thinking of. Thank you. Recall's missing.
His old innate was that he can't fall below 75 mana, which had some niche use cases in laning because you could cast Illuminate when you had just enough mana for it, and then only use the mana cost minus 75 for it, right? But,
All right, Kaz. God.
Yeah, if you're Kazing it up, boys, just keep in mind that with Scepter, you no longer restart the alternate ability cooldown if it was already on cooldown. And when you have your shard, you now create a stronger mark that will stun and deal crit bonus when you shard it up with your Kezi boy. Keep that in mind and stay safe out there. All right.
Raptor Dance no longer provides magic damage immunity. That's pretty big.
That's worth mentioning, I suppose. But yeah, don't forget to Kez it up.
Okay. Kunkka, meh.
Yeah, you can move on, I think.
Largo. So Ag Scepter no longer adds damage to double strumming. Belly Blitz, which is the one that gives the magical damage. That's the one that is attacks are magical damage, right? Yeah. Now upgraded with Ag Scepter, increases magic damage by up to 18 per Grooven stack when this song is used in double strumming. Yeah. So is that in addition to you being able to double strum?
So Bullbelly Blitz deals 20, 30, 40 damage on its own. And then the max number of Grooven stacks is 5. So if you're playing Bullbelly Blitz, you are doing 40 plus 5 times 18 damage per time you double strum when you're level 18. But the big difference here is you need to play Bullbelly Blitz to do any damage. If you're playing the other two, you're doing 0.
Right. Yeah, that's a good change.
it's a very good way of forcing people to, hey, if you guys want to do damage with eggs, you got to play the damage song. I think that's only fair. Also, you can catch your like runes, and that refunds your mana. So you can do the pudge thingy. Probably by popular demand. There's no balancing aspect to this. It's just funny. So
yeah, it's just funny because you'd almost be fast enough just to walk next to it.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Almost.
Legion Commander. Okay. Innate, reworked, called Outfight Them now. It's a passive, grants Legion Commander bonus armor equal to 1 plus whatever per level. Whenever Legion Commander casts an ability, she gains the same amount as a stacking bonus for 6 seconds. Whenever allies within 1200 range cast an ability, they also gain a 6-second buff with 50% of the value. Huh.
This sounds really good, actually.
Interesting. Overwhelming odds.
You have more armor. Oh, well, you lost 1 base armor. So you have the same armor at level 1. But as you level, you get more armor. And every time you cast spells, you get armor. And every time your allies cast spells, they get armor. So you're just tankier on everyone around Legion.
So the Ag Shard is reworked for overwhelming odds. Now increases the radius by 100. Grants an all damage barrier equal to 50% of the damage dealt in the last 6 seconds from overwhelming odds. So that's old facet.
Stonehall plate. Yeah.
Press the attack is now upgraded with Ag Scepter. Increases bonus move speed by 12%. Ability becomes cast point, affecting all allies within the targeted 500 radius. Legion Commander is always affected, even when outside of the cast area. Damn. So that was a 25 talent? Was it not?
AoE press the attack was a 25 talent.
Oh, it's a 20 talent, actually.
Or a 20 talent. 20, but it's better. This is more AoE. It's a very big radius.
And then Ag Scepter, it still has to do with duel apparently as well. Is that it's reworked? Wait, what?
You just cast press the attack around you when you
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this sounds
also
pretty good.
Worth mentioning, Moment of Courage is no longer chance based. It works like X.
Oh my goodness.
So you counterattack after X attacks on you. So you can reliably set it up. You can reliably expect when it happens in the jungle and on waves and all that. I really like the overall idea of this in terms of theme, with having her more of a commander, right? Like, she's called Legion Commander, but effectively beforehand she was the duel girl. This is playing more into, hey, the team rallies around me and I'm going to make everyone else stronger. I like this thematically. Probably just needs some love with the numbers, right? But it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I feel like Moment of Courage I found very frustrating in the laning stage, because it'll go off as I'm getting attacked. I'm running away. I'm not using it at all.
Yeah.
So I could see this being good. She still needs a horse.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We didn't mention that. It only procs when you can use it. Yes. Otherwise, it's paused, the Moment of Courage, so you don't waste it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yep.
Good quality of life.
Okay, Lich. This is funny. Lich's base mana regen is decreased from 0.75 to -1.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Did you see this 25 talent?
On Legion?
Yeah. So it's now dual refreshes cooldown on victory. That is fucking awesome. That is awesome.
That is sick.
Wait, what's the other? Oh, I can see here. The other one is 75% Moment of Courage life. So you're never taking that. If this really, is not really a 90-10 split in terms of pick rate, I will be shocked.
I mean, in pubs, it's going to be like 100-0, right? But in pro, maybe. I feel like you still take the left one, surely, right?
That is so sick, actually.
That's pretty sick. Okay. Lich. Bonus or base mana regen decreased from 0.75 to -1. First hero in the game ever to have negative mana regen. Remove the death charge innate. Now your innate is sacrifice. Lich can instantly kill an allied creep to gain mana relative to its current health and earn experience bounty for it. Health to mana, 42% plus 3% per level. Experience bounty, or whatever. You get less experience than full until you're a high enough level. And then you get mana for it. This ability starts on extended cooldown and with no charges, making the first cast possible only at 2 minutes.
What do you think of that?
Sacrificed creeps count as denies, providing experience to enemy heroes. Lich's experience gain is independent from experience enemies gain.
So if you guys don't remember,
the idea of a negative mana regen hero is funny.
Yeah, that's funny. Sacrifice, if you guys don't remember, for anybody that's new, which is, I guess, nobody, this used to be a basic ability on Lich, and everybody agreed that it was probably best to not have in the game because you could deny creeps at the beginning of the game and it just completely changes the laning stage. Having it at 2 minutes, I don't like it because this is one of those band-aids again. It's fucking
Band-Aid.
arbitrary.
It's
It's
super
so
Band-Aid. Yeah.
unelegant that it just offends me. I don't know why. It bothers me. But Sacrifice, you get the XP for the creep, which is not what it did before, right? It was just denying.
It's a pretty big XP swing when you deny a range creep, right?
Yeah.
You get and they don't get anything if you do it away from them. I think this could be pretty good, actually. The problem is, aren't you just going to come to lane with no mana? Like,
you got a TPN.
I'm just trying to imagine what the lane play looks like. You show up to lane with Frostblast skilled, you cast it on them twice, you run out of mana because you have negative mana regen, and then you can't sacrifice to get mana back until you're level.
Wait, hold on. But you can
what?
You can gain mana now, though, right?
Yeah, you basically buy clarities to offset,
or like a Bassi or something. I'm saying before you could not physically gain mana regen, correct?
That's correct. You couldn't regenerate mana at all.
So that's
anything
gone.
else than things dying around you. Yeah, so you can't. Okay, let me just quick. This feels like a thing I have to demo. I want to see how much negative mana regen you actually start with, because you obviously have int to offset it, right? Okay, let me just see. Okay, I have 0.4 positive mana regen on level 1 with no items.
Okay.
So you do have, you never go into negative in reality. You just have really shitty regen.
It would have been funny without any items to be actually negative. I wouldn't have been against that. Just for the hilarious.
That's how I thought it was.
Hilarity.
Work, okay.
Lifestealer gains 10. He gains 10 base damage, which is quite the buff. Base attack speed, I don't know why I'm reading all this. That one's the big one. Ghoul Frenzy is now the innate. You get 5 bonus attack speed per level. Rage gives move speed now. So this is basically becoming the old Lifestealer for all intents and purposes. Feast is back to a basic ability. You gain health permanently only from hero kills and not creeps. Is that correct, the way I'm reading it?
No, you still get 1 per creep. With Feast.
Huh?
If you mouse over Feast, the ability, it just says max HP per creep kill 1.
Oh,
so you get 1 per creep.
That's
and
good.
10 plus 5 per level of the ability per hero.
I was worried about that. Okay. You can no longer deny at 75%, which was a huge part of the landing stage, but you're getting 10 damage. So
this hero is without question just better. Because once you get levels on your hero, so you get more attack speed with Ghoul Frenzy, and you have 10 more damage, this hero starts hitting like a fucking truck later in the game, and it's way easier to last hit with 10 more damage.
The shard was really weird before. It was when you, I think, were jumping out of a target, it would apply open wounds to everybody. Now, when consuming a creep, enemies also take damage over time equal to 30% of the creep's remaining health. Has no effect when bursting out of enemy heroes. They really want to make this into that hero from Han.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's another weird one that I don't think people are going to buy. Because at a certain point, you're getting ags and you're jumping into your enemies. So I don't get it. Sounds like a useless one.
You're not going to buy it, really. So whatever. Okay. Lina loses combustion. She now has slow burn. That was a facet before. Lina's abilities deal an additional 64% damage as burn damage over 4 seconds. This obviously means that the base damage of all of her spells has been cut down significantly to compensate that she does this damage over time. And in turn, this means Lina's total damage is probably higher than before, but her burst potential is a lot lower, so you get more counterplay. But if you don't have the counterplay, she's going to burn you alive, which is an interesting direction for the hero. I can't really tell if this is better or worse for pro. I think it's significantly better for support Lina. You just do more damage. Support Lina is not so much about one-shotting people with Flame Cloak. Shard has been changed. Casting Laguna Blade temporarily supercharges Lina, gaining her 12 stacks of Fiery Soul. That was a facet before. called thermal. What was it?
Who cares?
Something thermal.
Thermal anus. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That was what it was called.
Lion, my favorite hero. Innate ability reworked. Killing or assisting in a hero kill provides Lion with 20% debuff duration while that hero is dead. Whenever Lion respawns or resurrects, he gains 20% spell amp for 90 seconds or until he gets a kill or an assist. So that second part was his innate before. Kind of. I don't remember the until he gets a kill or an assist part. That was just 90 seconds flat.
I think the old To Hell and Back was you get debuff duration and spell amp when you respawn. And now you've effectively split it so that when you kill an enemy, you get the debuff duration aspect, and when you die, you get the spell amp aspect.
Right. Thematic.
So coming. Okay. Yeah.
Finger of Death now has our favorite facet that you hated and I love, the Fist of Death or whatever it's called.
Stupid.
But so when used,
it's funny.
Now has the empowered melee attack after the cast by default, which can be a detriment at times. But Ag Scepter actually increases the cleave from 25% to 50% and the duration by 10 seconds, but no longer decreases cooldown. This is the worst Ags in the game all of a sudden. Like, what the fuck? Wasn't that the whole point?
I mean, it still gives you AoE finger, right?
AoE finger. Wait, what's the cooldown? Because it was
30
20
seconds on level 3.
Oh, it's 30 seconds now. Okay.
It's the cooldown of finger in general has been lowered. I would say this.
So this is 100% uptime.
It makes things.
You can be melee 100% of the time.
Yeah, if you kill immediately after, then yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's not just killing; you just use your ult, right?
Oh yeah, true.
Okay.
Okay. Lone Druid gets 225 projectile attack speed. Really nice valve. Let's move on. Luna, her shard has been reworked. It now increases damage reduction by 10% and gives you 20% movement speed during a lunar orbit. This is one of those shards to me that feels a little bit forced. As in, they don't really have a great idea, but got to do something, right? It's weird because I don't know if you do you ever buy this on Carry Luna? It's the Juggernaut problem, right? Where are you going to spend 1,400 gold of your itemization that makes your hero stronger to get a better lunar orbit? Probably not.
No.
Okay, Lycan's Wolves with Shard has been reworked. You get one more wolf and you get Hightail. This used to be what was that called? That Facet Alpha Wolves or whatever?
Yeah.
And you can activate it. So yeah, now that's just a shard on Lycan.
I'm going to miss the wolves that you couldn't control. I forget the name of the facet where you just got
love that.
A shit ton of stats. Man, that was
Spirit
fun.
Wolves? No, wait, that was just the name of the ability.
I think that was the name of it.
Okay, Mag's Skewer. Oh, that's just a numbers change. Mag is still the same hero, basically. Okay. Marcy, Special Delivery. That was her innate before, and it still is. If Marcy's curry is in the fountain when Special Delivery is cast, the courier will take all items from the stash before teleporting. The courier will now automatically attempt to transfer items upon teleporting and head back to the fountain. Oh, this is just quality of life. Never mind, it changes nothing. Bodyguard, however, is reworked. It has both passive and active components. It passively gives you lifesteal and bonus attack damage. When you cast it on an ally, you give them a percentage, 75% of your passive bonuses, and a shared all damage barrier that blocks 90, 160, 230, 300 damage. Damaging the barrier on either Marcy or the target will reduce it for both. I like that part, though, that you're sharing the barrier.
God, just listening to your disappointment with a single sigh, it's just so funny.
As Marcy attacks heroes, 30% of the damage dealt restores the barrier. Okay. Interesting, as you can tell. Not the biggest fan of barriers as a concept, but... Alright. Mars with a new axe for his scepter. Lowers the cooldown by 10 seconds and increases the duration by 1 second. If an enemy is killed within the arena, Mars and his allies restore 35% of their max health and mana and gain 35% attack damage for 20 seconds. This effect stacks.
Holy shit.
This is basically the old Victory Feast, but better.
On crack.
Way better.
Yeah.
But it's also Ags. So you have to buy it. But
I mean,
This is theoretically fucking sick if you pull it off.
I
late
feel
game.
like just reading this, I feel like you buy this now, right? Surely.
You could. I think you definitely could buy this.
No, sounds insane.
Oh, wait, we just skipped a key part of Lycan, actually.
Hmm?
His innate went from damage to neutrals, changed from 2% per level to 18% plus 2% per level. Lycan jungles really fast now, comparatively.
Can you
He just gets
jungle level
18%
1,
more damage.
Synderin? Can we have our first jungler back?
He could, maybe, but then you're jungling, so that sucks.
That sounds amazing.
Okay, Meepo.
Having one in the game is okay, surely.
I mean, I personally would love to have that more sandboxy thing back with more jungling, tri-laning, etc. I'm looking at it from the perspective the game doesn't allow for it. Like, you can read this and be like, wow, you can jungle. You can't. It sucks. It's just bad on a pro level to jungle with a hero.
Why do you keep talking about who gives a fucking shit about pros? Seriously.
Okay.
Fuck them.
Okay, you're playing a pub game and your Lycan goes jungle and you're now solo.
Yeah.
Do you like
I get
that?
solo XP.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, that's good.
But I'm the Lycan in this scenario.
Oh,
all right.
Oh,
it's
so
great.
You're that guy. Okay,
I missed the Legion Commander level 1. You come out of the jungle. Okay. I'm ready. Everybody.
All right.
Got my blink blade mail.
You know what? Do your thing. Just play with other people. Geomancy for Meepo, new innate. Meepo grants stacking bonuses to himself and his clothes based on their terrain. Each Meepo grants its bonus to other Meepos. If there's a tree within 250 range, he receives 1 health regen. If he's standing on solid ground, he receives 2% bonus movement speed. If he's in the water, his attacks slow the target by 2% for 2 seconds. Each Meepo can provide only 1 tree bonus, no matter how many trees are within the radius. If there's a tree in the water, Meepo will provide both tree and water bonuses.
Okay.
This is so fucking random, man.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird
This
one.
is so fucking random. All right, Divided We Stand has been reworked. Max level increased by 1, so now you can get 4 levels in it. You can get it at level 3, 10, 17, and 24. This is basically like the more Meepo facet from before. No longer passively grants magic resist. Each duplicate copy all of Meepo's items, but they share their cooldowns. Damage, attack speed, health, mana regen, mana burn, and proc chance bonuses from items are distributed equally among the amount of Meepos. Clones can't use consumable shared items on the main Meepo. I see. So this effectively means that you can, if you have Hex, all of your Meepos can cast the Hex, but then it goes on cooldown on all of them. For example. That's kind of cool.
Okay, I'm confused by the second to last line. Him gaining experience, hero kills in this. How did it work before?
Beforehand, if you had more Meepos in range of a kill, you got more experience.
Really?
Yeah. Because the clones and the main hero gain experience independently, and the clones gain less XP.
When
but
did they add
together,
that?
They both get more. I don't remember. It's been a while.
What the fuck? Okay.
I think, at least. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Meepo gains 100% of the experience from hero kills. Or maybe it's a way of saying even if it's only a clone that's within range, you get the full XP, where before maybe you got less if it wasn't your main that was in the kill. To be honest, I don't really remember Meepo. It's
okay. It's okay.
A bit of a mess. But
that's all right.
All right. Mirana gets a new innate. Mirana consumes... okay, so she has an auto-cast attack modifier as her innate. Mirana consumes a charge to empower her next attack with bonus magic damage equal to 3 per Mirana's level. At the start, she has 2 max charges, but gains 1 more every 7 levels. With Shard, you can upgrade it, so that Casting Leap provides 3 temporary charges for the duration of the buff. These temporary charges ignore the max charges count and stack from each leap cast.
That's a weird one.
Okay, so this is just trying to make Mirana a magic damage hero with Leap and her innate.
That's a weird
Doesn't
one.
sound all that good to me. I don't know. Kind of meh.
I have to see that in game. Yeah.
Okay. Monkey King. Changing of the guard is now a default part of Wukong's command. So that was a facet before that you can swap position in the ult.
What was the other one? The other one was Tree Dance. No.
Yeah, the Tree Dance one. Changing of the guard with Ags. Ability appears in place of Wukong's command and starts on a 1-second cooldown after casting Wukong's command. Wait. Oh, it's just about changing of the guard. Okay.
Yeah. You can't go into a statue for a second after popping ult.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Morphling. Hero model size now scales on his agility strength ratio. That's very random.
Test that in
but
game,
fine.
please. Tell me how big he gets. Actually, I'm going to do that myself.
Let's sure do that. And his innate is now called ebb and flow. So instead of choosing between them, he now has both. Strength and agility provide Morphling with additional bonuses. His cast range and slow resistance are increased by a portion of his strength. And his attack range and movement speed are increased by a portion of his agility. These bonuses are provided even when replicating, except for the extra attack range, which is not provided when replicating a melee unit. And then there's just numbers. Okay.
Does this make a difference if I have items or not?
You do not get a lot bigger, it looks like, but a little bit.
Let's see. Got a BKB in here.
Why?
Didn't that used to make you bigger?
Oh, you mean, okay, you're just trying to be as big as possible.
Where's
wow,
Ogre
that is
now?
very underwhelming. Okay, I'm just moving on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Muerta.
Oh, fuck, I made him an enemy. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Muerta has reworked her innate. Whenever an enemy hero dies within 925 units of Muerta, she gains a stack of 1% spell amp up to a maximum equal to her current level. When Muerta dies, she loses half the stacks rounded down. Interesting. So very snowbally by nature with the spell amp. It's kind of cool. Now she has a new shard, Spectral Slug. Muerta shoots a spectral bullet at an enemy dealing damage, knocking them back and turning them ethereal for 3 seconds, rendering them immune to physical damage and unable to attack. The target is slowed and becomes 20% more vulnerable to magic damage. It's effectively a super cheap E-Blade on enemies only.
Yeah, that's cool.
But she can shoot them anyway because they're ethereal and her innate still allows her to do that, right?
Yep.
Or can she not do that anymore?
That would defeat the purpose of this.
Not?
Surely.
Wait, hang on.
Muerta can always attack ethereal targets and can attack when she's
the
ethereal.
Veil.
Yeah.
In Pierce the Veil.
Oh,
so,
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tied to the ult now.
I mean, the shard's still good, though.
It's a great shard. The thing I'm unsure about... No, I think you just... When you hit level 6, you unlock the ability to shoot ethereal targets for the whole game. I don't think it's during...
Now has a passive component. Yeah, you're right. It's passive.
Yeah, so I think you just need to be level 6, and then you can
properly
shoot. So that you would be 6 before you get Spectral Slug anyway.
That's really good.
Okay. Then... Yeah, and Naga Siren now has Riptide. That was a facet before. That's just...
Exciting.
Yeah, very cool.
Night Stalker.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about a hero before that.
No, NS is good to me.
Innate is Hunter in the Night, which is no different, I guess. But now can be upgraded with Ag Scepter. Increases bonus move speed by 15% and bonus attack speed by 50%. Killing an enemy hero resets cooldowns of all basic abilities. That's sick. The Shard
that especially becomes interesting with his new ability, I'm assuming.
Shard with Void now affects all units within 400 radius around the target. So this was the old Shard. Or no, that was the old Ags.
It was the Ags, and then it was the Facet, right? Voidbringer, or whatever.
Crippling Fear is no longer the Ag Scepter, which is great because that was a really shitty one.
Yeah.
Midnight Feast is a new basic ability. Has both passive and active components. Night Stalker heals himself 12 health when attacking enemy units. Attacks on allied units and buildings will not heal him. Can be cast at night to eat a non-ancient creep and restore 25% of Night Stalker's maximum health and 16% of his mana. So this was the old Shard, effectively, with a little twist, I guess.
This sounds really fucking strong, I'll be honest. Like, you're getting the... It's a weaker version of the old Shard, but you're getting it for free, and this just allows you to farm faster and regen during night, right? And just go to camp and just eat a creep, and when you're laning, you're a lot more stable because you have lifesteal. The only downside is you can never start the game with night now. The day will always... The game always starts at day.
I did find that to be an interesting part of him. You also can't ever eat unless there's a Talent. You can't eat ancients. Doesn't look like it's a talent
No.
either.
Never. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this could still be very strong. If you get through the laning stage, I think this is just a better hero. But a big part of what enabled him to lane well was that he played the laning stage at night. So we'll see. Interesting, though. Nyx, he loses Nyx Sense. That was the one that allowed him to see Invis heroes. Now he has 12% mana burn on all of his spells, which used to be a facet. 12% of the damage you deal is what mana you burn. It is not 12% of their mana. And then Vendetta breaks by default. That used to be the Shard. You just have that on break now, or a Vendetta. Instead, the Shard is now Scuttle. So that's the lower cooldown ulti, but then for the first 15 seconds, you have haste and unobstructed pathing. So
Yeah.
you can buy that.
I feel like you buy this on this hero, surely.
You buy it.
That
You buy
facet
it,
is
for sure. You just buy it.
unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Ogre Magi.
It was one of the best facets in the entire game.
Yeah. Ag Scepter. Wait, what was his Ag Scepter before? Was it not the unrefined? Becomes Refined Fire Blast, reducing its cooldown by 1 second, increasing its cast speed by 25%. So you get double. Wait, I'm confused.
I see. Yeah,
Explain.
so when you get Ags, your Fire Blast transforms from Fire Blast to Refined Fire Blast. So basically, you get Unrefined Fire Blast like before, but now your regular Fire Blast gets better because it gets faster cast speed and 1 second lower cooldown.
I see.
But then in return, Unrefined Fire Blast has 1 second more cooldown now.
Does this still cost a percentage of your mana? Yeah, 35% of your mana.
Unrefined Fire Blast does, yeah.
I wonder if Fire Blast has a different icon when it's refined. Gonna test that real quick, really important.
Okay. I'll continue in the meantime. Omni Knight, +1 armor. Let's see. Hammer of Purity now pierces
Does
debuff
not
immunity.
change. Sorry, go ahead.
Hammer of Purity pierces debuff immunity. Repel has much lower cooldown, but no longer gives strength and regen. Or bonus, rather. Bonus strength and regen per debuff. Guardian Angel is now a no-target ability. The effect is applied in an aura centered around Omni Knight that follows him. That's the old GA. The radius is 700. And Ags now becomes global, affects building, and amplifies health restoration by 100%. Okay, so this is kind of old Omni. They're trying to bring him back to what he used to be. This makes him a better support because you have lower cooldown on Repel. That's basically what makes him a support. And GA is probably also overall a lot of the time going to be better because of the bigger radius around yourself. Oracle can now also predict Roshan's timer with his innate, so he knows runes and Rosh. TA loses that, obviously. I'm assuming. We'll get there. Oracle gets a new Ags. Oracle gets Diviner's Deck. Oracle receives a tarot card buff now and every 90 seconds. This buff is undispellable and lasts until the next one replaces it. Oracle knows which buff will be next. Death plus 40% spell amp. The Fool plus 100% gold gain. The World plus 150% int. The Lovers plus 40% heal amp. And the Tower gain a 400 all damage barrier which regenerates after not taking damage for 7 seconds. This sounds fucking awesome.
I got a few messages about this one because this is literally in our game. Tarot deck is a relic in our game. It's a little bit different with the buffs, but it's one of 2 by default, and then when you upgrade it, you can get more choices or whatever. But I'm having trouble envisioning this one. It sounds interesting.
I love it conceptually. I don't know how good it is.
Can you just... So, hold on. So you get the thing for 90 seconds?
Yeah.
But you replace it every 90 seconds, or can you keep it?
You replace it.
Okay. I feel like this is
but
not...
you can plan ahead because you know what your next card is going to be.
This can't be good in this current form, surely. Right?
I don't know how good it is, but I just love the idea of this on Oracle. I think it's cool. Right?
Conceptually, it's cool.
It's fun. Yeah.
It's probably going to need some buffs, I would think.
Okay. OD loses 5 agi and 1 armor. There's probably a good reason for this. Essence Flux is now the innate. So that's the classic. You restore mana when you proc an ability. You now have a basic ability called Objurgation. It increases your max mana. You can activate it to create an all damage barrier equal to a flat amount plus a percentage of your max mana. This barrier can be dispelled, and you can stack more of them. So if you have Refresher, for example, you can get more. With Scepter, you increase your max mana to barrier by 4%. Damage that would bring you below 20% is prevented, triggering a strong dispel and an automatic instance of undispellable objurgation. So similar to the old eggs, you just get a better barrier. Okay, I mean, this just sounds like the hero is significantly better because you start with Essence Flux innately, so you can skill him differently in lane. That's already really big.
You're a big fan of this hero. I think he should be
I
completely
love
reworked.
OD.
Yeah.
I love OD. I hope this makes the hero playable in pro games.
If they can delete...
If not, it's probably viable in pubs at least.
If they can delete Astral Imprisonment and think of something else, then I'd have no problem with him. I think it's too frustrating.
All right, we're actually going to be skipping over quite a few here. Phoenix's innate is Dying Light. That's the old facet. You do damage based on your missing health, and it also works during Supernova. Primal Beast's innate is Colossal. He has slow resistance and gains area of effect and slow resistance for every 100 max health. So the fatter you are, the more AoE and the more slow resist you have. That's kind of interesting. This hero gets really high HP. Okay.
Sad for Pudge. Nothing crazy for him.
Yeah, I suppose.
A request to make him like the Pudge from Han. When you buy Shard, you can move when you hook. And it brings people back on the way there. Just throwing it out there.
Yep. Pugna has the old facet that gave you damage for destroying towers, is now just in the innate. So that's just the one you have now. Which means you can no longer have the ward improvement. It's just gone. Quap. With Ags, you apply a Scream of... Wait, isn't this the same? 25% of the damage dealt to heroes with this ability is reflected back to her. That's Scream of Pain. Okay, so Scream of Pain does more damage, but it reflects damage on you. Interesting.
We did not notice this today, did we?
No, I didn't notice.
We had both games at Quap. Today. They lost both games, so...
No, Mikoto won.
He didn't play it.
Yeah, Mikoto played Quap against Pain.
Did he?
Yeah. He played Pain. He played Quap game 1.
Okay.
I think it was game 1. Anyway. Storm Surge on Razor. Oh yeah, it was because he played Ember game 2. Storm Surge on Razor. The Shard upgrades it. While Eye of the Storm is active, Storm Surge's critical strike is twice as high. Cooldown reduced by 2 seconds. And Lightning strikes all enemies within Eye of the Storm's radius. That was the facet from before. Called Stormseeker, I think. So now you just have that as your Shard, which effectively should make it a nerf. You have to pay for it, mostly. Ringmaster. Ringmaster's pool of souvenirs now always consists of Funhouse Mirror, Strongman, Tonic, Unicycle, and Whoopee Cushion. So that is the... What's that? That's the Carney Classics plus the bike.
Yeah. So that means the Vision one is gone, and the pie where you push people away is gone.
Yep.
Does this make it worse because you're cycling between 4 now, right?
I would argue that the worst one on average is Funhouse Mirror. So if you want to do some math here, let's keep it simple. Let's say before you had 2 good and 1 bad.
Yeah.
Now you have 3 good and 1 bad. Unicycle... I know it obviously doesn't work like that, but I think the unicycle is useful. Funhouse Mirror was literally a disjoint in niche situations. Didn't really get used for much else. The bike can be used when you're smoking, if you're going through the gate for a gank. You know, there's like plays with this.
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably better. Okay, Rubik is interesting now. So Rubik has a new innate called Curiosity. Rubik gains 1 stack of Curiosity per level, each granting him 1 base damage. He gets base damage, buff debuff duration, area of effect bonus. If Rubik sees an enemy hero cast an ability within 1200 radius or distance from him, he gains 2 Curiosity for 20 seconds. If an enemy that currently provides temporary Curiosity dies within 3 seconds after taking damage from Rubik, he gains 1 Curiosity permanently. So this just means Rubik technically has indefinite scaling on his damage, debuff duration, and AoE of spells. It's kind of cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of talent stuff and whatever. Sand King's innate is Caustic Finale. So just like before, but it no longer levels with Epicenter, so I actually didn't need to mention that. Shadow Fiend, Necromastery is just regular leveling now. That's your innate. And Shadow Rays, or it's still your innate, I should say. Shadow Rays with Shard applies a stacking slow debuff. That is Shadow Mire from before, the facet. And Requiem no longer has a damage penalty on the returning Requiem with Ags. So it does a lot more damage on the way back, but it's also capped at 20 souls, regardless of whether you have Ags or not. You can't use more than 20 souls in your Requiem.
Oh, this is cool. Shadow Shaman.
Oh, and Feast. Wait a second. Feast of Souls no longer costs souls to cast.
Yeah,
it's a reworked ability. So let me quickly mention that. So no longer requires souls to cast. Shadow Fiend gains souls from surrounding enemies. So it's the opposite. You actually gain souls. Gain souls from 2 enemies in 600 radius every 0.5 seconds, prioritizing heroes. Each individual enemy can provide souls once, with creeps giving 1 soul and heroes providing 3. Can collect souls from up to 4, 6, 8, 10 enemies. After the effect is over, Shadow Fiend loses the souls whose owners are still alive, retaining the rest for 8 seconds. This is kind of interesting as an idea. It still gives bonus attack speed and move speed, by the way. Just less of it. This is much better than it was before. People are taking stats over this in pro games.
Yep, it's been over a year now, at least.
Okay, go ahead.
Shadow Shaman. Urnaconda is the new Ag Shard. Throws a jar at a location, dealing 275 damage to enemies in a 225 radius and creating a massive Serpent Ward that lasts for 15 seconds. That Serpent Ward is not as good as the old one, obviously, but it's 4x the health and damage of a normal Serpent Ward. It's a 50-second cooldown. That's pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. It reminds me a bit of Rock Throw from Primal. Like the whole idea of you just have a spell where you throw something at a target location and something happens there in a small area AoE.
Yeah, the old shard would add to foul play, which basically got a buff as far as I can tell. Because you gain a chicken illusion every 5 levels you get. So, oh wait, you can't use items though. That was the big thing with the shard, right?
Yeah. I think on average, I would actually consider this better if you get this for free from the Tormentor. I don't know if you buy this, but you will often be the recipient of the shard from Tormentor. I think Shadow Shaman is still an S tier hero now. He was already really good last patch. So
new innate for Silencer.
Yeah,
Suffer in silence. Silencer takes less damage from and deals more damage to silence targets. So this was a facet before, I believe.
Yep.
The enemy hero dies within 925 range of Silencer or was debuffed by Silencer at the time of death. Silencer permanently. Okay, well, he just gets the int from them.
Yeah.
So it's built into
but now the shard gives both more int steal and the glaive bounce. Gives both.
It's kind of interesting. I feel like they've been toying with this idea of making Silencer more of a carry, a core. This sounds pretty good for that. Whether it's good enough, who knows?
I mean, he will inherently already automatically be a better carry this patch because he got 10 move speed and BKB doesn't get refreshed by refresher, right? Like Silencer's biggest problem as a carry is that pure damage doesn't pierce debuff immunity. But if they wanted to make him a carry, they could make Glaives of Wisdom pierce debuff immunity. There you go. Then he's a carry. But maybe that's too overpowered. So
yeah, perhaps.
Okay, Scarith Mage. He gets Shield of the Scion. That is the one where you get Barrier when you deal magic damage. This was a facet before. It's just your innate. Slardar. It's still the same. Never mind. It's just different numbers. Snapfire no longer has Buckshot. I hated that innate so much. I'm so happy it's gone. It was one of the dumbest in the game. That was the one where you had a chance of a glancing blow when you shot. So sometimes you failed last hits. It was so annoying. Now you have Boomstick, which is a new innate. Snapfire deals more damage with her attacks and abilities the closer she is to her target. Minimum damage amp is 0% at a distance of 495 plus 5 per level. Max damage amp is 35% damage amp at a distance of 50 plus 5 per level. So effectively, you're trying to get close with your abilities and spells to deal more damage.
But you lose
This obviously does not
s-
synergize with your ults.
You lose the scatter blast facet completely then. The thin,
Yeah,
long
you lose
one.
the. But this means you're kind of back to old Snapfire that has the wider cone and wants to be close to do bonus damage.
Right. Yeah, it's fine.
But to compensate, Scatterblast point blank bonus is decreased. But still, I think this. I like this conceptually. It's how she's meant to be. So it's cool. Okay.
Spirit Breaker?
Sniper is worth mentioning. You no longer get passive attack range from Keen Scope. Take Aim is now back to being the ability that gives you attack range, so snipers kind of have to skill that now again. However, Keen Scope, your innate, gives you damage per distance between you and the target. So you deal more damage the further away they are, and that also works with Assassinate, and it's uncapped. So the further away you are, Assassinate can deal a fuckload of damage, I guess.
Yeah,
If you're very far away, if they travel a lot during the Assassinate. Yep.
Spirit Breaker, empowering haste is his new innate. Gains movement speed whenever he stuns an enemy. Effect depends on the unit type. Stunning effect depends on the unit type. Stunning a hero will provide 8% bonus for 2 seconds, while other units provide 2% for 1. Okay. Yeah, this is the really old one. Okay.
This means if you charge through a wave and heroes, you get a lot of bonus speed, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
This is every time you stun an enemy, so that includes charging through creep waves into fights and whatever.
Right. Yeah, they're trying to make this more of a thing, apparently, because Greater Bash upgrades with Ag Scepter now, increases the knockback by 30%, roughly.
Why does it say roughly?
If a knockback enemy collides with another enemy, the second enemy is also bashed, and the original target takes 25% of the Spirit Breaker's Greater Bash damage again. That sounds so niche, isn't it? The effect is also applied to Charge of Darkness and Nether Strike as well, since those abilities use Greater Bash. So if you charge through multiple people, is it like a bowling ball type of situation?
I mean, the last line, bodies of killed units keep flying and pushing enemies, sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I'd need to see this in game. This is really.
But
hard to picture.
I don't know if this is any good though.
Planar Pocket.
Planar Pocket is the shard.
Yeah, back to from shard to Ags to shard again. Then next patch it'll be deleted because it just feels too weird on this hero, I think. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this one. This one's quite different.
It's hard. It sounds funny, but I don't know if it's any good. You just have to try it out and see if it makes any sense. Sven, Wrath of Goddess is innate now. That was Facet before. You get attack damage per point of strength. It was different before. He had Vanquisher. Sorry, no, that was his innate. What facets did Sven even have? I don't even remember. I feel like one of them was called Wrath of God and was tied to damage at least. So it's just he just hits harder when he has more strength. And Warcry's shard is now reworked. It makes Warcry undispellable and increases the radius by 200. Warcry provides a physical damage barrier and an additional move speed when active. Okay, this is. So it no longer gives the aura, but it makes Warcry itself a lot stronger. This is interesting if you can play support Sven, actually, with this. It's quite strong, the Warcry.
I almost had an aneurysm seeing this picture the first time.
Which one? The remote mine?
Yeah, the remote mine, which is called MAD, but I don't think they ever say what that stands for, which is kind of weird. New innate ability, it's passive, increases mana regen by a portion of Techie's max mana equal to whatever the fuck. When Techie's dies, they leave behind a barrel that explodes after a second and a half, dealing magical damage equal to 50 plus 30% of their max mana to enemies in a 400 AoE. The barrel provides 400 obstructive vision until it explodes. So it only lasts for 1.5 seconds. You're not going to see this scattered across the map. Can upgrade with Ag Shard, increases mana to damage by 10%, adds an active component. Maybe I didn't read this part. Techies plants the Mad Barrel and detonates it later by using a sub-ability. The Mad Barrel is invisible and can be destroyed before the detonation process begins. Detonating the barrel makes it visible and immortal. Wait, what? Detonating the barrel makes it visible and immortal. And then it explodes after the same 1.5 second delay. I see. Only one MAD can exist via the active cast at any time. Barrels planted via 1 second channel. So you get one remote mine, effectively, with the shard.
Yeah, thank fuck it's only one.
I wonder what Slacks thinks of this one.
I mean, Techies is still one of the worst hero designs of all time. The old Techies. The new Techies is still not a great design either. But yeah, just fuck them, you know?
Okay.
Reactive Taser can always be cast on allies. That was tied to the shard before.
Mm.
Now you can just use it on friends.
Yeah,
that's a really big buff.
Good. That's really good.
That's a really, really big buff that you can just do that. Yeah, just what we needed. Techies buffs. Wonderful.
But you can buy Blade Mail and kill him with Proximity Mines, Cinderin. Damage source changed from Proximity Mines to the caster.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, TA gets a new innate. She no longer knows when Roche spawns. She has Inner Peace. After remaining stationary for a quarter of a second, Templar Assassin begins meditating, gaining bonus health regen and mana regen. Bonuses linearly increase from 0 up to their maximum, which is reached after about 2 seconds. Moving from the current position or taking damage from an enemy resets the regen bonuses. Max health regen is about 3, and max mana regen is about 2.5 at level 1, and then it scales up per level.
Interesting. So you just sit and meld, and you
don't even need to meld.
Gain mana? No, I know, but the safest way in lane to do it.
I mean, this is interesting for her laning because TA a lot of the time can just push out the wave, right? And then she can chill after to restore her powers. And the mana regen in particular is quite powerful. It means she can just use refraction and meld on every wave and just chill and get the mana back. As long as she gets to stand still. This could be good for laning, to be honest. Refraction upgraded with Shard increases the damage by 30 and allows Refraction to be cast while disabled. As a Shard only? Okay.
That's quite good.
And Psionic Trap upgrades with Acceptor. When activated, traps now also silence enemies.
So they built the Shard into the current Axe, basically.
Yeah. So now if you want to silence with this hero, you need Axe, which is a huge nerf against some heroes, but against the heroes that this doesn't matter against, I think the Shard is actually really good in some games. Interesting.
Terrorblade, nobody gives a shit about. Oh, Tide is cool. Yeah.
So he loses Blubber. Instead, he gets Leviathan's Catch. Whenever an enemy dies while affected by any Tidehunter's debuff or is killed by him, they drop a fish. Tidehunter can eat the fish to grow in size and permanently gain 3 max HP, 2 attack range, and 1 bonus damage block. Tidehunter automatically eats a fish on every level up. Bonus damage block is only applied if there's a source of damage block being applied to an oncoming physical attack. The fish flies 400 units towards Tidehunter upon spawning, stays in the world indefinitely, and can be destroyed by an attack from Tidehunter's enemies.
I'm going to test this out in game, of course, as you would expect.
This is so silly.
The amount that you get for killing a hero is super small, isn't it? Like, I know you get it per level, but couldn't they do the Lifestealer thing where you get more for killing a hero?
You can't get anything for killing creeps, though, right?
By the move.
Yeah. I'm just gonna. Oh, did I not see a fish? Did you guys see a fish? Hold on.
I think you need to be further away. Just kill them with Gush instead.
Oh, there it is. You can't even click it. That's pretty cuddly. I like that. Eating 2 yummy fish.
I mean, this is a really funny idea. Numbers, whatever. It's just funny.
Look at this AoE, by the way, at level 30. This fucking anchor smash.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not even hitting him. Okay, there we go.
Okay, next up, Timbersaw. Okay, then never mind. That's just the same.
That's good.
Tinker. Gaben be praised, Shannon. Remove defense matrix.
Thank God, dude.
Although, let's see about the new version. I'm not inspired.
Yeah, you read it. I'm gonna try the turrets out.
So, Aghanim's laser no longer adds bounces. Aghanim's now upgrades March of the Machines. Robots apply a non-stacking heal over time to allies they come through. So that's the old facet of repair bots. Is the Scepter... the Scepter upgrades multiple abilities. I see how this works. Okay. So it still does the... So basically Scepter on Tinker upgrades Laser, March of the Machines, and his new ability. Laser doesn't get bounces anymore, but it still gets the percentage Shrink Ray. And then Deploy Turrets is his new ability. After 0.5 seconds, airdrops a group of 3 uncontrollable turrets at the target 250 radius area, dealing magic damage, destroying trees, and pushing away enemies, and Tinker. Turrets seek enemy heroes and shoot missiles in their direction every 1.5 seconds. The missiles deal magic damage, and 50% of the damage to enemies within an AoE. Each turret has low HP and exists for 4.5 seconds. Each of 3 turrets activates with a small delay. The missiles fly. The missile flies in a forward direction, can be dodged by moving out of the way. It's like a mini game. Turrets target heroes only, but missiles can hit creeps on the way. Turrets prioritize the same hero until they're out of reach. Splash damage is not dealt to the hit unit itself. Well, yeah, no shit. It gives some gold and whatever.
Upgraded
Upgrade
by
with
Ags
Scepter.
as well.
It activates faster. The missiles fire faster, which additionally fires 1 more volley of missiles. Okay. Do you like this more than Defense Matrix?
Obviously.
I probably
Defense
do.
Matrix is one of the most toxic abilities
Yeah.
ever in Dota history, and I don't say that lightly. I will
Do you
say
think
I'm a bit
Defense Matrix
disappointed.
was that? Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm disappointed that they didn't get rid of Warp Flare. I think that's also quite annoying.
Do you think Defense Matrix was that stupid without his innate?
What was the innate again?
That was the one that mini blinked him when it broke. Or facet, sorry. The facet.
It doesn't fit the hero. I don't know. It's just like a random status
that's fair.
resist buff. It should
Yeah,
not be
that's
on
fair.
this hero.
I think part of the reason people hated Defense Matrix wasn't particularly what it did. It was because it allowed him to blink
Right.
while taking damage, which would already be gone without the facets. So
Yeah, it
But-
should be interesting
alright,
to see
let's
how
see
these
how this is
turrets
now.
are. I'm just testing against they don't hit creeps actually. Okay. They don't
they can, but only if they hit heroes on the they target heroes and fly through creeps on the way.
First
Okay,
impression, they don't seem that strong, but could be wrong.
Yeah. We got Tiny. He now gets Insurmountable. So that was the facet from before with slow resistance and status resistance based on strength. And Grow is upgraded with Shard. You throw thrown trees and tossed units deal 20% more damage in their AoE, have more radius, and apply movement slow and attack speed slow. That is effectively Crash Landing. It's the Shard, and it upgrades your ult. And Tree Volley now uses the bonus damage values of Tree Throw and the bonuses from Shard as well. So I guess that technically buffs Tree Volley because it also gets to use Crash Landing in addition to the Scepter. Okay.
The thing I don't like is that you can't have a permanent tree grab unless I'm missing something with talent. Doesn't look like it. That feels bad for Carry Tiny, which I've always been partial to.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's true. You can't have the permanent tree with Shard.
The max you can have is, they did buff it to be up to 7 attacks, but that still feels pretty bad.
Yeah.
So Carry Tiny feels like it's not a thing then? Like, that felt pretty
Probably.
important, right?
Yeah, that's probably not a thing. Tusk now gets Drinking Buddies from his Shard. So he cannot choose Drinking Buddies at the start of the game. He always has Tag Team as his spell. But Drinking Buddies is the Shard, and instead of it giving damage when you pull together with the ally, it now gives movement speed and armor. But that also means that Tusk can have Tag Team and Drinking Buddies at the same time, which I think this hero is S tier. Just from reading this. I think this is a much better Shard than the previous one. You're just a better hero. I think this hero needs some nerfs on numbers. When I read this doesn't seem right. That he was already good, right? He must be a monster with this. Okay.
Venge?
Vengeful Spirit. Retribution makes Vengeful Spirit gain benefits of both melee and ranged attacks. Beforehand, this was a facet you chose with this, whatever that was called, where you got better base attack time and the bonuses of melee attacks. You now have the better base attack time by default as a hero, and you also get, so you effectively just got the facet now.
Yep.
5 move speed.
Which felt really good.
And
Love that facet.
So you just have that one. You can't have the other one anymore. However, Vengeance Aura gets a different set of things with Axe in addition to what it already did. First of all, it gives you 20% more on yourself out of the benefits. And then also Scepter increases your self bonus by 1 to 1.3x. Your illusions from the Scepter are fully affected by the Vengeance Aura bonuses, and your illusion takes less damage. So just better.
Well,
Axe on Venge is better, and Venge is better.
You don't refresh your ability cooldowns, though. That's kind of huge.
Oh, shit. I missed that line.
That's a huge nerf.
That is a huge nerf, and everything else is better. Okay.
We'll see if that's enough
Okay,
for her to come
Venno.
back.
Venno has Poison Sting as his innate now. His Shard increases the cast range and projectile speed of Gale and creates 2 Plague Wards. That was the that was a facet before. What was it? I forgot what it was called. The one that creates two Plague Wards. Now he gets a new ability called Snake Bite. Venomancer summons a spawn of Actok to sink its fangs into an enemy, dealing magic damage and applying a deadly toxin, which does magic damage per second. When the target attacks, they take the initial magic damage again. Wow.
Okay, testing this out.
Okay.
1 second.
Be careful if you get hit by this, I guess. Or you just take a shitload of damage.
So when you attack, when the enemy attacks with the debuff on, they take the damage again?
Yeah. Yeah. They take the flat amount again. But I wonder if there's a cap to how many times that can happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Just try with... Okay, so Shannon is trying with Morph. You just snake bite him and let him attack you a couple times.
Doesn't refresh, I guess.
So he can only take it 1 time. No, he can take it more times, no?
It didn't look like it. Let me see.
Just try again. Just snake bite him and let him non-stop attack you.
Oh, he is taking damage every time, but it's while the debuff doesn't refresh, but while the debuff is
debuff lasts for
active,
6
every
seconds.
attack you take the damage.
You're getting mega punished for attacking with snake bite on. That's really interesting,
Yeah,
actually.
that's pretty cool.
Okay, and finally, Noxious Plague has been reworked. It only affects the host and doesn't spread, but when no longer has an AoE effect, it only affects the host. When the plague spreads, it also carries all debuffs placed by Venomancer. So when plague expires on the primary target, if they're affected by anything, that spreads to the whole area. So if you have them hexed or silenced, all of the allies that get plagued get hexed or silenced.
I'm going to try that out.
Decreases. With Ags, you decrease the cooldown by 35 seconds, reduce magic resistance of affected units by 20%.
So I need
And
to
allows
hex them
additional
at the
spread.
end of the duration of Noxious Plague?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So you just cast that.
Oh my god. I mean, this is a very specific scenario. I mean, what other debuffs, like even like a Witchblade thing would be, that's a lot of damage.
Witchblade, Orchid,
right?
Hex, Nullifier, Scotty, all the shit you can imagine being on the target. But it's only the debuffs placed by you. So it's not all debuffs on the targets, the ones you have been setting get moved by you. Okay.
Wait, did they get rid of the extra damage per debuff then completely?
Yeah, because that was Septic Shock. That was his old innate. That doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. It's interesting.
Curious to see. I feel like the Snakebite ability is really fucking good against some heroes in lane. Like, imagine somebody goes on your carry, you just Snakebite them, and if they try to attack, they take so much damage that they lose the trade. So it's kind of like a pseudo disarm in lane, almost. It's kind of cool. Okay. Viper, Aghanim's Scepter now gradually increases Corrosive Skin's magic resistant damage per second while he's in Nether Toxin. This is the old facet, right?
Yep.
Caustic Bath is just on the ability now. Visage has Sound as the Grave as innate. Visage gains flying movement and 12% bonus movement speed for 20 seconds. Upon attacking or casting, he loses both effects, but he and his familiars gain 10% attack damage for 2 seconds. So you just have that at the start of the game. You can just fly for 20 seconds. Okay. You upgraded with Ags, which gives you invisibility to you and your familiars. So that's like before. But you can just fly in the beginning. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Rip the
Voids-
facet that didn't allow you to control your own familiars. We'll miss that.
Yeah, rest in peace to that. Nobody will miss that, of course. Okay, different math on the innate of Void Spirit, but the essence of it is somewhat similar with how he benefits differently from attributes. Weaver has a new innate. After dealing damage to an enemy hero, if Weaver remains within 700 range of them, he establishes a thread of fate that briefly slows movement of the enemy and ties them to Weaver. Each established thread of fate grants 10% bonus damage to Weaver. Threads last up to 6 seconds and break if the distance is longer than 900. If the enemy dies with thread established, the thread's bonuses linger for an additional 5 seconds. Okay. Sounds decent.
Interesting. Yeah, it does sound good. What was his old innate? What was Rewoven?
I forgot
Don't remember at all.
what his innate was. Wind Ranger. New innate Tailwind. Using an ability conjures a stacking tailwind that gives Wind Ranger a brief burst of movement speed. Movement speed bonuses start gradually fading halfway through Tailwind's duration. Movement speed bonus per stack 35%, duration 2 seconds. Passively increases Wind Ranger's max movement speed to 600. Upgraded with Scepter. Attacks also grant Tailwind. Increases Tailwind duration to 3 seconds and makes it undispellable. Wow. She can just be really fast a lot with her spells. That's really interesting. She lost only 5 base movement speed to compensate for this and 10% move speed on Wind Run. She must be a lot faster regardless, though.
But she loses both facets, right? And they're both good.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
The kill.
I mean, that's the asterisk on all of this. Some heroes lost really good facets and others lost shit facets. And the ones who lost shit facets are just better by comparison. So, okay, we're almost at the end, Shannon. It's time for the home stretch. Just 4 or 5 more to go, I think. 4 more. Winter Wyvern. New innate ability. Winter Wyvern starts the game with Eldworm's Edda. After 10 minutes, it can be consumed, increasing the current and maximum level of a basic ability by 1. Also increases Winter Wyvern's intelligence by 25% of its base value at the time of consumption. Level 5 values are automatically calculated by applying 50% of the difference in all values between levels 3 and 4, except for the mana cost. Mana cost is kept the same as level 4.
That's very cool. That is a really cool innate.
So you just choose which spell you want to have level 5 for the whole game.
So I'm going to open the game.
Huh.
I don't need to open it. I can just see the scaling, right? It's 50% of what?
It's 50% of the difference in all values between level 3 and 4. Except for the mana cost.
So what would you go for? I mean, you're a Winter Wyvern player. You can use this on your ult even? No. Basic ability, I assume.
Yeah.
Does it say that?
Basic ability.
Okay.
It says basic ability, yeah. I think most games you probably level up Splinter Blast. But you could maybe see the heal be good, and on Core Wyvern, maybe the Arctic Burn being even stronger. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this one.
Okay, this comes at a cost, though, because Wyvern's Cold Embrace has been reworked. It decreases the cooldown by 4 seconds, and allied units gain 60% bonus attack damage for 6 seconds when emerging from the Icy Cocoon with Shard. But that also means the Shard no longer casts Splinter Blast.
Yeah, that's...
You just get
pretty
the
big.
old... you get the Winterproof facet included in Cold Embrace when you have Shard.
Well, only time will tell. Conceptually, I love the innate. Shard is definitely worse.
Oh, there's another thing that's pretty big here. Arctic Burn no longer has a 1 debuff per cast restriction on enemy heroes, so you can consistently keep slowing them. But the burn duration is increased from 5 to 3 seconds, but you can keep reapplying it, which is pretty strong because of how long you can fly for. I think this hero might be really good, man. I don't know. It might be really, really good now.
The Shard makes it less likely to become a core, though, right? Or you can use it on yourself, though, I guess.
Yeah, you can, but it's like awkward, right? I think the main reason you would get this Shard is just for the CDR, mostly as a support, but it's nice to have the other bonus. I think this hero is going to be very good. But we'll see. Maybe I'm overrating it. Wraith King. Vampiric Spirit. No, this is just numbers changes. When you get Shard, your critical strike on Mortal Strike curses them. So that is the other facet that he used to have.
Yeah, the weird one.
Yeah. And Bone Guard is now basic ability for Wraith King. So you have that facet, the Bone Guard facet you have inherently, and then you can shard your way to get the other one.
And reincarnation
mana cost has been rescaled massively.
Yeah. So that's the trade-off. You get level 3 reincarnate. It costs 0 mana, so that's the old shard effectively. That's
and now
good.
it spawns skeletons by default.
Yeah, that's true.
When you reincarnate as well. Interesting. He needed some love though. I hope this makes Wraith King better. This hero
Would
has
you
not
say
really been a part of the
Falcons
game
played with
before.
this today?
They played it today, yeah. They won. It's one game, but I mean, if
100%
they
win
see
rate.
some value in it, that's already a good sign, right? And finally, Zeus.
You
This
can
is mainly
stand in
just-
Nimbus with Blade Mail and kill Zeus.
Oh yeah, the damage is now him instead of the Nimbus. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Then it's just numbers and numbers and numbers.
Yep.
Okay, Shannon. That
Good
concludes.
job, Cinderin.
Let's do some. First of all, let's give it a total score as a patch.
I'm
of
not
what you
doing.
think.
I'm not going to do score this time.
You don't want to do a score?
You can do it. I'm not doing score.
Okay. I mean, there's no point if you don't. Then I don't. Do it. I'll just. That's what makes it funny. But okay. So I'll
okay.
give
Okay.
my-
I'll do score, but with an asterisk.
Okay. What's
if
the
that's okay.
caveat here?
So I am in the process of recalibrating my expectation level. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can give this a rating in a vacuum where there's no outside influence, there's no expectation. I can just rate the patch. I would say that this is an 8 out of 10 then in that case.
Okay.
It's quite good. I like a lot of the changes. I think the patch looks longer than it should because facets being removed, basically implementing them into the heroes is like literally more than half of the changes listed
It's a
for
lot
the
of
heroes
text.
themselves.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, I don't have a problem with facets being removed necessarily. I mean, I prefer they had stayed, I guess, because I think pub players do use them, not pro players. This is more of a pro player decision, I think. But I was expecting facets, if they're going to remove them, to put something else in its place, which I understand, like, from a balance perspective, you don't want to do that right away. So maybe that's going to be later down the road. But my expectation level does need to change. And I think I'm hearkening back to that post that we refer to all the time, if you remember, where they said, no more battle pass. We're going to have much more gameplay. That lets us focus on gameplay changes. There have not been more gameplay changes. It has been, at best, the same, if not less often. So I am missing events and patches that have huge mechanic changes because we haven't had that in 2 years. So if I look at it in a vacuum, though, which I'm going to, this is I do like a lot of the changes, like 8 out of 10 for sure. I think it's quite good.
Okay. Yeah.
How about you?
So for me, let's say if a 10 out of 10 patch, is that, would you include, let's say this came with an event mode, would you say that's a part of the patch or would you say that is separate from the patch?
Yeah, it's part of the patch.
Because if that's part of the patch, I can never give a patch a 10 if it doesn't have an event mode.
Okay,
we've
then
had
separate
patches
it.
in the past that haven't. Okay. So if we work under the assumption that an event would be a separate and really nice thing that I agree 100% we should get, which would be awesome, or whatever, new heroes or this kind of stuff. We put that aside and we say patch is in a vacuum, like you said. This is like a 9.5 or a 10 for me. And it's because...
It's because of this word right here, removed.
Things I wanted in the game for literal years, it's like things I have wanted for so long, it's like multiple of them caught up in the same patch. That's why I love this so much, is that there's multiple little things, or some of them are bigger, that I've wanted for very long, and now they're dumping all of them simultaneously, which makes this really cool for me. So there's multiple things that I really like. Facets being removed is, I don't really know. It's like, okay. The reason I like that change overall is because of the precedent it sets of what they're trying to do with it, which is, I'm assuming, balance the game better, bring more heroes into the limelight, make the game more like it used to be, where there were wider hero pools. The heroes still had very unique identities and very unique things they offered to the game. Less gold on the map with 2 camps being nerfed is really good. Tormentor being less obvious as the best play in the game is really good. Whether the numbers are right, whatever, it's just the precedent of what they're trying to do is really nice. Wisdom Shrines being less important is really good. It's less game deciding whether you get that or not, but it's still meaningful to do it. A lot of the item changes I think are clever, where they're trying to, how to say, encourage different itemization and make it less cookie cutter, what is just obvious to build every game. They're trying to make like Halberd better. They're trying to make Shivas worse. They're trying to bring certain heroes back to how they were played a few years ago when I think they were more interesting. To me, the weakest part of the patch overall is just the neutral item section, disregarding whether I love neutral items or hate them or whatever. I don't think the new designs are that interesting in general overall. I think there's like 1 or 2 of the 7 maybe that are kind of cool. I love the harmonizer idea. That's the tier 5. I think that one's cool. And that's pretty much it. I actually think none of the other ones are really cool, but that one's cool. Changes to crafting, I like. I think it's better this way, but like you said, maybe you should make the neutral items, if you want to have them anyway, maybe make them cooler. Now that they're more deterministic again, you can make them stronger. They've done really good normalization of the jungle for pulling, which matters a lot for me as a support. And a lot of the nerfs to busted heroes, nerfs to things that were stupid, changes to a lot of heroes to give them new playability and interesting ideas. I just think they just did a really fucking good job, honestly, with this. I really think this is good. And I haven't really had this feeling about a patch for, I can't remember how long, where I'm like, wow, there's so much in this that really nails it. There's not really any power creep. There's not really any more. There's a bit less, and that's what I've wanted for years. So honestly, I really
happy
love
for
what
you,
this is.
Synderen.
When I play it, who knows? Like when I play this for 2 or 3 months, maybe I'm going to think it did less than I expected. Maybe I'm not going to like it that much, but just reading it makes me feel like we are dialing it back a little bit to when I personally thought Dota was a better game. I thought Dota was better and at its best a couple of years back, probably. And things got a little bit too crazy. And now maybe we're finding a better balance, is my hope here. So I'm very, very positive about this. But like you said, would have loved an event or some sort of other thing than just a gameplay patch. But for a gameplay patch, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, my next hope is to make the Invoker change they did to every hero someday. That would be a big patch for me.
How would you do that, though?
You choose an Ags and a Shard, and you have two. You don't have to need
you have
three,
multiple
but
options.
You have 2 choices of what you want to build.
That's
So
kind of like
pseudo
purchasing facets, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I see.
I think that could be cool. And it's fun to design, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Actually, wasn't that
cool? Let us know what you guys think in the comments, obviously. As usual, you and I, we have a bit different takes on what we think is cool or good, but overall, the sentiment is that it's a good patch, I can tell. So,
yep.
Yeah.
All right, that does
Thanks
it.
for watching.
I can't believe it's only just past 3 hours. I thought this was going to be way longer. You really controlled yourself this time, Synderen. Good job.
We did it, team.
Good job. All right, until
everybody.
next time, Suns fan Synderen signing out. Peace.
We say things that don't mean
Subscribers.
anything, but
Maximus.
thanks for listening. Yeah.